So, hello everyone. I did a podcast with the Archaeology race with the top 5, and now we're doing another podcast with the big boys from Necromancy, including the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dave himself. We're going to go and just quickly introduce each person, and then we're just going to discuss the race and everything about Necromancy for a little while, and you guys can listen along. So, Mr. Dave, did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Dave. I finished Archaeology, rank 22, and then I finished Necromancy somewhere in the top somewhere. I don't know. I'm on there. The whole goal was just to get top 10. I never thought top 1 was possible, but I guess we made it.
Hey, nice. And then we have rank 1 Iron Man as well, Mr. Gecu. Did you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, hey everyone, this is Gecu. I've been playing RuneScape for 20 years now and exclusively Iron Man since Iron Man release. And had to race for number 1 Iron Man after getting rank 2 in Archaeology. Needed to redeem myself, and it worked out this time. And I do stream from time to time, and will definitely be streaming more frequently going forward, twitch.tv/Gecu.
Hey, nice. That's awesome. It's nice to see new content creators popping up as well. And that goes without saying in the description to this video, it will have everyone's like either YouTube or Twitch if they have it, or it will just have like their social, maybe their Twitter or something if they're not a content creator, which leads into another content creator, Mr. iTrolledU.
Hello, I'm iTrolledU. People call me Ken. I don't play RuneScape much anymore, but I played a decent bit. So yeah, I'm very familiar with the game, and yeah, Necromancy was fun.
And another content creator that most of you probably know, Mr. Omid.
Hello, I'm Omid.
Oh, nice. That's a good intro. Yeah, well done. Solid. We have one of the Clue Chaser legends, Mr. Raul.
Hey, yeah, I'm Raul, and I got rank 11 on Archaeology, I think. And on Necromancy, I got rank 2. My goal was to be rank 1, but David didn't let me. And
yeah.
Oh, shit.
There's going to be some tension in this podcast. And then last but certainly not least, we have a lovely newer content creator, Mr. Stormy.
Hello everyone, my name's Stormy. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv Stormy, same on Twitter, Discord, etc. Pretty much just wanted to go for front page, never thought I could achieve something like rank 12, and yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, so now we got all of the formalities out of the way. You guys know people's voices a little bit more. We're just going to chat and discuss things, and it'll be a bit more casual from now on. I am the lowest rank here, as in, like, I guess the highest rank. I don't really know how to say that, but I'm ranked 22, so these guys are way better than I am at the game. But we're having a good time. So the first question I want to say is probably aimed at like Raul and Dave mostly, because I know you guys had about 3-4 hours sleep, and Raul said he took a couple of 10-minute naps. Like, how the heck? I had like 12 and a half hours sleep, and I was still absolutely dead and barely managing to push 200 mil. Like, what allowed you to do that? Was it like the adrenaline? Like, how did that happen? I guess we could ask you first, Mr. Dave.
I mean, at first it was pretty, like, I don't want to say easy, but it wasn't bad. Like, the first 48 hours were okay. Sleeping for 2 hours and waking up after that was awful. It was absolutely terrible. I think I only made it another 24 before I had to sleep again. But for the final push, I mean, I went through like 5 energy drinks just to keep myself up.
Yeah, same.
Okay, yeah, but so, the caffeine is key. And then also, how long was your final stint, Dave? Like, after the 4 hours?
I think it was about 30 hours. It was definitely less, but it was about 30 hours.
Yeah, that's actually crazy, because you're on so little sleep anyway, and then being awake for 38 more hours is madness. I know, like, Omid, for example, was absolutely exhausted. I don't know how much sleep you had, Omid, but I remember watching you, and you were like a zombie.
Because I was planning my sleep around doing combat, and combat obviously requires like nothing but rituals. I think the play of rituals is actually, for most people, was to sleep a lot. Because I know like Flamestar had like 18 hours of sleep, and he got like a really high rank.
Damn.
for example. So I should have slept more is basically my mistake.
Yeah, I feel like I should have slept more as well, especially at the last push, because there was like multiple hours where I was getting like 1.5 mil an hour. But it's like if I
Yeah.
just slept for like 2 hours, then those 1.5 would have been made up, right?
Yeah. That was the kind of the fun thing about Necromancy is that it was like if you wanted to get like top 10, maybe not like obviously like rank 1 or 2, right? Rank 1 or 2 you had to push, but if you wanted to get top 10, the play was actually to sleep a decent amount.
Yep.
Like staying up long hours is just going to be like worse in the long run for your XP per hour, and that's why I fell a lot of ranks.
Yeah.
Exactly what I did.
How much sleep did you get, Ken?
Like 11 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's still low though.
More than it's more than the like top
Other,
three.
yeah, that's fair.
More
yeah.
than me.
Like I'm not getting rank 1 with that, but like that wasn't really the plan because like I can't do that. I can't do those hours doing that.
Yeah, it's madness.
It's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you guys did it, honestly.
And like Raul, you said you had like 3-4 hours, and then you took a couple of 10-minute naps.
Yeah.
Did the 10-minute naps help?
Yeah, I don't know because I was really hyped a bit, and in the end, I think the end was easier for me at least because I was really hyped up, and
Yeah, like adrenaline.
I remember that I was really afraid of the nerfing rituals.
Mm.
I thought, yeah, I should not sleep because otherwise I will just wake up and return to combat.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I remember the end was easier for me. At least I did around 40 hours, and then I slept for 2 to 3,
Mhm.
and woke up and took another 1 hour because 3 wasn't enough, and then I went all the way to the end.
So how long were you awake before the extra hour?
I think it was around 40 hours. I remember I got one.
Holy dude,
Yeah.
that's mad.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy.
In archaeology, I was awake a lot more. I don't know what
Really?
happened. Yeah, I feel like I did a lot more effort on archaeology, but wasn't enough.
I'm kind of curious, what was the difference between archaeology and necromancy for you and Dave? Because obviously you guys got, I forgot what ranks you guys said for archaeology, but obviously you got way better ranks for necromancy. What do you think the difference was?
Yeah, I think the Dominion's method was a big difference for me because I couldn't afford it back in.
Yeah, but I didn't have Tony's
archaeology.
magic.
Yeah, I know you didn't buy, right, Omid? The
Yeah,
Tony's?
I didn't have Tony's magic.
But he became the magic.
I didn't smell. Yeah, it became the magic.
10% extra effort on Omid's part, so he became the medic.
I'm just generally curious, what the difference was for you guys between the two skills, because I think they were both like very good releases. Although like archaeology was like a way longer like race.
Yeah.
Right? It was like for most people it was like 16, 17 days.
Yeah,
whereas
sprint versus marathon, basically.
yeah,
Yeah. I really liked archaeology. I thought it was like a really good skill release. But for me in particular, like I just messed up so hard because it was my first time actually racing for top page. And I think like the first day I slept for like 8 hours and I just couldn't catch back up. Obviously I did because I still made it to top page, but I didn't end where I wanted to end, right? So but just actually going for like time sprites and stuff, I remember just like clicking on the time sprite and then waiting for Alt 1 to pop and just sitting here with my eyes closed, like waiting for it to ding.
dude, I'd phase out the time sprite sometimes, even though my
Yeah,
alert
me
was
too.
super loud. I
Yeah.
was just like zone it out. It was actually like so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Shout out to Alt 1.
Exactly. dude.
Alt 1 carried so much.
I would do the
100%.
siren sound, you know, the siren
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
on max volume, and I would zone it out. I would just not hear
I
it.
literally just watched a clip yesterday. I think it was of Winters watching both you, Omid, and Ken, and he had both your streams up, and all you could hear were sirens, and he's just playing Minecraft.
That's what my alarm was. I used like that oil rig nuclear meltdown super loud
Oh,
alert for my
God,
alarm
yeah.
to wake me up because I'm a speaker gamer, so I had the speakers blasted right up. So then I'd set the Alt 1 alarm lobby timer to like 12,000 seconds, which is like a 3.5 hour sleep, and then that would be my alarm.
Yeah, that's fair actually.
I'm a Mac user, and so I didn't know until yesterday that there was a plugin to let me use Alt 1. So I felt like I was torturing myself just
Oh.
blasting music all day every day just to keep myself awake.
Wait, how long was the archaeology race for Iron Man? Because that must have been way longer, right?
29 days.
Oh
wow.
my! Surely, like, do you
wow.
remember how many hours of sleep you got?
So I can't believe that I got rank 2 even. I slept 6 hours a day consistently for the
okay.
29
Wow.
days.
Yeah, I mean that's still like less than you're supposed to sleep, right? And
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
as long as you're efficient and you're playing the whole time during those 18 hours that you're playing, there's still more than most people.
I feel like Iron Man races are more interesting, so it's a little bit sad to see it's not as like competitive though.
Yeah.
Because it's much more complicated for like pathing for an Iron Man than it is for a main, since we can just buy everything.
Well, I guess that leads into the question: how competitive was it for Necromancy, Mr. Gecu? Did you find there was a ton of people racing, even for Iron?
Yeah, I was surprised at how many people were racing.
Mhm.
I mean, I was kind of looking at it for the people who are racing for number 1, who have 5.6 bill. I think it was a little bit more competitive than top ranks for Necromancy specifically.
Mhm.
And I think because it seems like we have to do a lot more theory crafting. Like we can't just buy things. That we need to make sure that we're doing everything intentionally every step of the way. And I even had some missteps where I thought I was gonna completely fall out of the race, where I felt like I wasted a whole day and a half partway through the race doing like low and mid level rituals instead of just focusing on high level rituals with PRS. And so like it ended up being a lot more competitive than I thought it was going to be, and it really came down to those final hours in the end instead of just knowing straight up after a few days who was gonna kind of take it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the XP per hour of rituals for you?
I mean I was getting like 2.75 mil an hour plus tomes.
Oh, including like gathering the supplies, obviously.
Oh, including gathering supplies, probably closer to 2 mil an hour.
Okay.
That's still pretty insane.
Did you have all the ashes?
No, I didn't. I only had 3k ashes going into it, but I went the haunted mine method because I wasn't wasting my time in the abyss. So I was just clicking every second, just getting those ashes. So I spent like 4 hours just collecting ashes, clicking every tick to get my ashes, and didn't have to worry about it after that.
Yeah, and when it comes to like the lower end rituals, like doing the greater for the inks and stuff, did you use the attraction on that as well, or did you use multiply?
I was using multiply.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so you would just get as much ink as you can from the low ones, and then the high ones, you get some of your powerful ink still doing like necroplasm, but then you
Yeah.
also do a bunch of attraction.
Once y'all figured out that rituals were the meta and the Iron Men were watching you all, then like I was in on Discord for like 4 or 5 hours with Raul, ended up getting rank 5 Iron Man, just theory crafting like exactly how much ink we needed to get from like 99 to 200 mil. We created a calculator to make sure that we were keeping up with it, and we just got that done, and then we knew we could just do tier 3 rituals all the way to 200 mil, and I think that really helped us out in the end.
Wow, that's pretty huge. Yeah, fairy crafting. Were you like AFK in combat while making that happen?
No, so I was collecting data for Rail, and Rail, since Rail wasn't going for number 1, was willing to do all the calculations. So I just kept doing rituals, collecting data for him, and he was doing all the math, and he gave me the answers, and that was really helpful too.
Good guy, Rail. Nice.
Yeah.
How good was his math?
Oh, his math was perfect. I ended up with like barely any ink left over, so it was really perfect.
Yeah, that's really cool to see the Iron Man perspective, because it was so much different on a main, right? You just buy it and you just get going, and you just always get best in slot XP. And then one thing I do want to ask you guys is, because obviously for especially like Raul and Dave, who rank 1 and 2, I think doing darkness spamming earlier was really beneficial for those who like were the top of the top. Like, what do you remember? What levels you started darkness spamming? And like, I guess for like Ken and Omid and Stormy, like, if you even did it, what levels did you guys do it?
I started at 100. I remember.
Okay, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, I think I did the quest, and I remember you guys actually started doing the greater bonus shield because it was a bit cheaper, if I remember.
Yeah, that's
but
what I started.
I started right away with the darkness because it was more XP, but it was really expensive. I remember. I think.
It was crazy, especially at that
like,
level.
Yeah, I don't know how much expensive, but I think it was like 10 bill an hour when I started.
Yeah, that's madness. Dave, do you remember what level you started?
I mean, I started using Greater Bone Shield, or Lesser Bone Shield, actually, right away. And then when I realized how much better Darkness was, I guess I always knew it was better, but when I came to the realization that Glue was going to catch me if I didn't, I went and did the quest and started doing that. So I think it was just after 120 that I started Darkness spamming, and I did that all the way to the end.
That's quite late. Okay, yeah. I started it just before I got 120 as well. So yours was quite late, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
I don't remember exactly what level it was, but Omid was the one that told me that I should start spamming Darkness if I wanted any chance of beating Glue. And then the guy stopped playing.
I was in Discord just like, I don't know, just telling him to do stuff. I was like, get your dad to wake you up. Don't go to sleep on your own. Don't trust your alarm.
Yeah, because I was telling him I drank an energy drink, and he's like, "Oh, you're not going to be able to wake up." And I started freaking out. I was like, "What the fuck do I do?" Like,
fuck, guess I'm awake forever now.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that, Maikeru and Ken? Like during Archaeology race, when you've been up for so long, your alarm just doesn't wake you up. So the best thing to have is have someone to wake you up.
Yeah, you have the unethical advantage.
Did either of you like sleep through your alarm clock?
Oh, on the Necromancy?
No.
Or
Archaeology.
I always slept through my alarms, like probably like 50%.
Yeah, I slept for 9 hours one time during the Archaeology race because I slept through it.
Yeah, I would run a bunch of alarms though, right? So you run one with one sound that you'd sleep through, and then you run a second one like a few minutes later with a different sound, and then you run like 5 different ones, and one of them is bound to wake you up, and that's how I did it, and I would always wake up eventually.
You gotta get the alarms that like you have to do like a math equation when you wake up, like to turn it off or something.
I actually got an alarm clock. It was like I actually ordered an alarm clock for the Archaeology race that didn't work, and I was so annoyed because it was called like Wheelie alarm clock or something, and it had wheels on it. So every time it went off, it would just go across your room, and you had to get up and physically slap it. Right? So it forced you to get out of bed. But it arrived, and the wheels didn't work. And that was like 2 days before Archaeology. I was like, what the heck? So yeah, I just used my family to wake me up instead, which was fine.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. You need like hydraulics on your fucking bed to just like fucking
shake
kick you off the bed or something. It was actually so bad during Archaeology, so I was like worried that Dave might sleep through because of the energy drink.
Yeah,
so
that's I was just telling him to like get his dad to wake him up.
He just didn't sleep, and he had 5 energy drinks instead. So
yeah, for the last push.
The man was
sounds better.
It was crazy though, because I had to like time when I was going to go to sleep because I couldn't get my dad to come wake me up at 4 a.m. So I had to push myself further. So like 8 or 9 a.m. I'm like, okay, and then I'd have to go tell him, can you wake me up in 2 hours? And he still like barely did that because I'm glad I sat in a Discord call with a friend of mine, and he just played a flashbang sound effect after 2 hours.
Oh my God.
that got me, dude. It's so loud. But it was just so bad because I had to push myself that little extra bit so that he wouldn't, he would have time to wake me up.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I know Stormy did this as well. Like we streamed 24/7, like the whole time, right? So I never did that with Archaeology, and I found it much easier to maintain my energy levels for Archaeology as I did Necromancy. So I think I was definitely more tired because of doing that. But I also think that time went a lot quicker for me because I was always distracted. So I'm like, in two minds whether me streaming 24/7 was actually a detriment or a helpful thing for me, because like I was always like, on, and it kept me awake. And when I started getting like tired, chat would be like, "Come on, stop being an idiot," and I'd be like, "All right,
I think it's hard to compare the two because one was a 16-day race and one was 6 days, and it's just like a massive difference. It's like a completely different ball game when it comes to energy.
Yeah, I think I'm a lot better in general because I slept 4 hours a night on average for Archaeology, and with Necromancy, I slept like 2.5 every time I slept, and I could tell the difference just from that alone. I think I'm much better of a person that can like maintain 4 hours of sleep for like a month, but I can't do like 40 hours awake because I'll just die.
Right, yeah.
All I would say for me is that I would not have placed as well as I did if I didn't stream 24/7. That's my own personal feeling.
Wow.
Yeah, I reckon 100%.
You think chat helped you?
Yeah, 100%. My stream kept me awake and pushed me through it. 100%.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for sure, and they like motivate you. Like especially with my final push, like it was the craziest moment I've ever had on Twitch. But like you have like chat go in and telling you to focus and like literally being like your nanny and being like, stop doing this or whatever, and you're like, okay.
I had that as well. I definitely had that too.
So I think that helped. Yours was crazy, Omid.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So
Before making
They're all
fun
just
of him.
asking you if you're alive, Omid. They were like, "Is this guy like alive?" Or
so for anyone who doesn't know, Omid's last part of the race, he was so tired. He said it was AFB, which was away from brain, and then he had a friend come into a Discord call with him to tell him when a ritual event would spawn and where to click and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak a bit about that, Omid? Like,
it wasn't being tired. I just fucked up my diet, and I hadn't eaten for like I think it was like 18 hours. I think it was just a
Oh my gosh.
calorie deficiency.
Yeah, you didn't have energy.
Yeah, basically my brain couldn't function. Is basically the issue. That's my bad.
in terms of eating, I weighed myself at the start of the race and then after the race, and in the 6 days I lost 3.5 kilos.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's really hard to. Eating is one of the hardest things I would say when you're like tired because you just have no appetite. Well, for me, anyways.
I had an advantage of having Crystal to like she was cooking and she also meal prepped a little bit.
That's broken.
So like
that's unethical.
Yeah, I had like
Roll
a
him back.
That's
person
actually
delivering
an unfair
food to me,
advantage.
so it helped a lot.
Page for Maikeru. Put him on the second page.
Yeah, it was crazy though with how many people were like going for the front page as well. It was way more competitive than I thought.
Shout out to my wife as well. Like she cooked all the meals. She kept me going, and then like I mean I was awake straight for the last 73 hours, and like between her keeping me awake and like I just had like a Discord call running with everybody in my clan and stuff. Just that was the only way I was gonna survive this thing.
That's madness. How much did you sleep? So what was your sleeping pattern? And I can't remember exactly how long it took for Ironman. Was it like a 9-day period or something?
It was just over 6 days.
Oh, really? It was that short?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because of the not sleeping. Like, so the first couple days of the race, I slept like 3 or 5 hours. Like, I slept 3 hours the first night. Second night, I slept 5 hours, and then after the third day, starting to see that it was going to be that close and that no one was logging off, I was like, I need to push myself. So I did 24 hours, and at that point, I started getting tired, and I just started to push myself a little bit more, and then I started getting into that phase where even being tired didn't matter anymore. And then after like a day and a half, then the cold showers had to start. So I would I would be making ink or doing something, and I would just run in and jump into the shower for like 10 seconds and then click, and then jump back into the shower for another 10 seconds and click. And then after 2 days, that was it. Like my brain was not functioning anymore, and it just kept pushing it. And I definitely felt it after 200 mil, logged off and just like passed out.
That's
what happens to your
man.
XP rates though, right? Because you're awake for like 70 odd hours. So at the end of that, how is your XP rate?
My XP rate did not drop like more than
Really?
5%. Like it was, I don't know what it was, but like I loved the rituals. Like if it was just AFK, I think I would have just fallen asleep. But the fact that I was so active is what kept me going for some reason. I don't know what it was, but it just kept me going.
Crazy. Okay, fair. One question I do want to bring up to you guys, because we're talking about like lack of sleep and everything, and obviously all of this is like crazy unhealthy and really puts a strain on our bodies. What do you guys think if Jagex like just shut your account off after 16 hours? So everyone had 8 hours where they can't play the game each day, and they had some time to sleep and stuff. And say the next skill comes out and they say they're going to do that. Would you guys be for it or against it? And like, do you have reasons?
Against it.
Absolutely against it.
Totally against it.
Oh, everyone against it.
I think the race in the current format is like a test to a person's capability, and putting a limit on that takes away the fun and enjoyment out of it.
Yeah,
That's an understandable take.
I think some of the fun is seeing how far you can push yourself.
Yeah, agree.
But also, I can't think of a way right now, but I feel like players might be able to like take advantage of that. I think in ways like wait, okay, I got an idea. Like in that 8 hours, most people aren't probably going to sleep. They're just going to probably like plan and theory craft.
Exactly.
And I think one of the fun parts about a race is like the fact that you're progressing so fast through the skill and you can't theory craft perfectly alongside that, right? But if you gave people 8 hours of free time, like off time, then they can just completely plan everything, right?
Yeah.
I think
They
that's one of the fun.
you can watch other people as well.
Yeah, you can watch other people. I think it. I definitely think that's one of the fun things about the race, like, especially with archaeology. Like it was so hard to like theory craft everything perfectly and plan everything perfectly while you were like progressing.
I 100% agree. I feel like I have the same take. I don't think I would enjoy the race as much if they made it so it was limited, but it is crazy how much like people push themselves to like points where you can get physically ill. Like I had a couple of friends that were physically ill at the end of the race, and obviously like that's like on them for doing it and they're choosing to do it. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it should be like double XP where it's like more healthy or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's definitely on them. Like I mean, I don't know about you guys, but whenever like a race like this comes up, I get a full checkup just to make sure that I'm like healthy and everything's okay. Because obviously I don't want to risk anything seriously or something like this.
You need to really know you need to know yourself and your limits, and don't push yourself beyond your limits. In the end, it's a game. You're supposed to enjoy it. Yes, it's a race, but if you're going to cause yourself harm, in the end, then it really isn't worth it, and it's going to impact you in other ways. Just like everything in life is a risk, and what we're doing by pushing ourselves like this is a risk.
Yeah,
always. But you just got to know your limits and figure that out, and make those decisions for yourself.
Yeah, I do agree, and I think it's more on the person than the company to do that, right? You should put in those things yourself. Like the game doesn't have to be your babysitter. So I feel like it's completely fine. We're all adults, if we want to spend 73 hours awake like Gecu did at the last of the race because he enjoys it, then let him do it. It's only 3 days of his life, and then he'll go back to normal, right? He's not.
They're giving him a warning every 4 hours anyway. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
The company's doing their part.
Yeah, it's fair. I just wanted to ask that question because I see it pop up all the time, and obviously it links into the whole like, is the amount of times, bro, that I was streaming. Well, obviously I was streaming the whole time, but the amount of times while I was streaming that I had the comment, "Do you think Dave's account sharing?" It's like, no, I don't think he's account sharing. He's actually just playing the game, and like it's been 4 days. It's like, yes, he logged off only for a few hours. But you're not saying that's physically impossible. Like people do it for work, they do it for other reasons. Like you can push your body.
The biggest thing I thought was kind of stupid about it was that it's like incomprehensible to them that Dave might be doing something or like a method that's just better as well.
Right.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
Like it's just like I don't know. Do you like what I did in my chat on my stream, Dave? Whenever someone said that,
that was so funny. Like, because I was watching you too.
is every time someone said that Dave is account sharing, Dave would be in my chat, and I'd be like, I basically asked him to like say his name, and Dave would be like, "Yeah, say my name." It's just like they just have nothing. I don't know. It's just people are just
living rent free.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they like look for that, and especially like, didn't they do some bannings for Fresh Start Worlds or whatever? What was it called? They like banned people who account shared for that.
Yeah, I think it was bots for Fresh Start Worlds, but yeah, I mean they
Bots?
banned
Oh.
high ranked. There was like people that were botting or like macroing or you know, doing some type of auto clicker or something that would push them higher, right? So there was a lot of high ranks, especially like agility and stuff that got
Okay,
banned.
yeah.
So they're monitoring for different things, but yeah, not account sharers. I don't think they said they're monitoring, but can they really? Like, what can they do?
I mean, they could look at IPs, but I guess
Yeah,
like
but
you
you
can't
just
tell
team
if they're
viewer,
using a
innit?
VPN or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Like,
yeah, yeah. TeamViewer is definitely like the around, but I mean,
yeah, it's just hard to monitor something like that. And I mean,
mhm.
whenever it comes to like a race, I don't really think anyone in the top would ever care about account sharing anyway, because we're all doing it for self achievement. It's what RuneScape is. It's a game where your numbers go up, you get achievements, you're happy about it, you get a bit of dopamine. You're not going to get that self achievement if you account share it in the first place. So like, whenever someone says that question, it's kind of weird to me because I know like all of us have like the same mindset. We just want to have fun and do our best. And it's like account sharing isn't doing our best, you know.
I mean, I still wouldn't want someone that's account sharing to get rank 1.
Oh, definitely not.
Like that would bother me, even though I don't care about ranks, because I know the person who probably got rank 2 would care about ranks, and they got beat by someone who's cheating.
You would probably see it though, right? Like it's probably going to be noticeable enough that you would kind of know that person account shared.
I mean, everyone was saying that Dave was account sharing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
guess
really
so.
hard to be like two people in the same house that plays RuneScape really hard. I don't know. At least in my case, I don't know anyone in real life that plays RuneScape, so that would be a bit hard to.
They can just TeamViewer into your computer though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I know that when Dave was going ham, and I think it was when you got 120. I remember someone in the content creator Discord said like, "Oh, have you checked his account for count sharing or something stupid?" And I was, and then like Azana replied, and they were like, "They've logged off for 2 hours sleep before getting 120, and they've just logged off again." And it's like, you know, the person replied with like, "That's crazy," but it's not something that you can really track unless they're online 24/7 for the whole time, right? So with like, so I don't know how they would track it. Like, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it.
But right now, with those 10-minute lobby timers, I think it's way harder to track it.
That as well, yeah.
Because people can just put it on mobile and just click on the.
For a race as short as Necro was, I don't think it would be possible really at all. Because 6 days, theoretically, I think like the human body can stay up for 6 days.
That's true.
Yeah, it definitely can, but you'll start seeing like shadows and stuff in your room.
Yeah.
Isn't like the record like 11 or 12 days before someone died, or 13 days or something? Wasn't like some World Cup soccer fan or something?
The world record for the sleep can never be beaten because Guinness World Records has condoned it impossible to beat without dying.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting to think about that stuff. But regardless, when it comes to the race in general, I know rituals were a huge thing, right? So this is probably going to be a big subject, and I know a lot of people are you know, passionate about it, for or against, etc. I think rituals are absolutely amazing, and I think they're a really, really good part of the skill. And I do like the distractions, and it's active and it's rewarding. But do you think that you enjoyed the race more or less with it being not combat?
It's not about it not being combat. It's the fact that if it was combat, it'd be like basically AFK because active combat is only slightly better, like less than 10% better than just AFK Revolution. So I definitely enjoyed it way more with Rituals, especially considering it was just a fun and engaging skilling
100%.
activity.
Yeah, so what if they made it where, you know, before they done all of the combat XP changes, where it was going to be like 100% active bossing? Would you have enjoyed that more or less than Rituals?
That's hard to say. It depends on the boss. If I'm doing Magister, probably not.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, because it's just a DPS dummy, right? Yeah. But something like Raziel.
I wouldn't mind. I don't know, but I wouldn't mind if Raziel was like a competitor to Rituals XP.
I think it should be. I think that for me personally, like,
yeah, I wouldn't mind. But if you told me like AFK combat being like as good as Rituals, I'd disagree.
I completely agree.
I dislike it as well.
Yeah,
I liked Rituals a lot.
Yeah.
For me, it was like a matter of griefing. Like, so I was concerned for the race, for the combat portion of it, because I was like, oh, I'm going to be in my player and slay dungeon for the whole thing. Because anything overworld, I'm just going to get griefed. So when it went to Rituals and griefing wasn't really as prevalent, I was kind of relieved of the fact that it did go down the ritual route.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I think griefers should be perm banned. First offense. My opinion.
That rest animation.
Crystal one.
Did you guys get griefed at Rituals with like
I got
animations and
I
stuff?
got griefed at Rituals constantly, and people put like Protean traps down.
Oh yeah,
that
as
200
well.
mil and stuff. Yeah,
I
perm banned them all. I swear to God.
RS guy came into my stream at one point and anti-crashed the griefers. Like he was just going on a bloody reporting tirade and just like getting rid of the griefers at the ritual site, and they all cleared out.
I don't know if I'm just being naive or what, but I don't think I got grief doing rituals. That being said, there was like a period of like 3 hours where I had people who had the snowfall like aura effect on.
Oh,
and they were,
no.
and they
so
were,
tilted.
I had that constantly. Yeah,
and there were
they
four
must
of
have done
them,
it on
dude.
purpose, right?
Like, I mean,
yeah, they would.
I was wondering, like, I was thinking to myself, are they doing this on purpose, or is it actually just they think that the snow looks really cool, and they're like, oh my god, I'm so cute with my snow. Like,
yeah, it was just so AIDS because for me, they were standing on all four corners, so it covered almost every single glyph on the board. So every time I got a skeleton, I couldn't see anything. And then
that's crazy.
Didn't see anything anyway.
Yeah, it's true. But then I had some noob who was in like the Rev gear, like the Revenant override with like the Rev walk, and he just stood in the middle with the green flaming skull. And I thought he was griefing me, but when I started playing my iron, he was still there. So I guess he wasn't, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was also like I never had a point because I was streaming 24/7. I never had a point where someone wasn't doing something stupid while I was doing rituals. That was just expected.
Yeah.
I kind of just got used to it. After like 20 hours of one guy turning into a stupid little ghost and walking across, and like another guy having the snowfall aura, another guy rested on top of like 7 of your glyphs. Like I just got used to it, and I just zoned it out. Like it was fine in the end. That is so much better than when I got crashed multiple times on stream. People came to my world to intentionally crash just me, and they would hop to find me, and then I would just not have. I can't compete against them because
Was that at Savages?
it was at Savages and it was at Armored Zombies more. Armored Zombies was the biggest one because I got to Savages pretty damn early, like with Omid and stuff. So chat was like, Omid's doing Savages, you should give it a try. And I was like, well, sure. And then there wasn't that many people that were doing it or able to deal enough damage to crash. So I guess they could have used magic, but I feel like I got crashed way more at Armored Zombies.
I think one thing that gave me a massive advantage is I went to Abyssal Demons and Savages when I was 80% accurate, and everyone was waiting until they were 100% accurate, but I think it was definitely worth to go there when you were 80%.
Yeah, I went there early because you did.
Yeah, it's because one, like, there's no one there because everyone's waiting till 100%, and number two, I think the density actually made up for the 20% less damage. So yeah, but like at the same time, like, don't you guys think that they should have made like mean, obviously you can't make instances for like the wilderness, but like a lot of like the dungeons were really good, and I feel like they should just made them instance based, or someone made like a really good suggestion of making monsters instance, but I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, like sharding.
No, like so monsters would be like
personal
like,
to the
it'd
player.
Be, like personal, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like sharding the monsters to the player, right? Is that what it's called?
Right,
Sharding?
yeah, sharding the monsters, yeah. Yeah, so like technically like you could have like 10 people training in the same spawn, they wouldn't be griefing each other and make it more community based, but I'd imagine that's like not really possible because I've never seen that in any game.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if combat was the meta.
Yeah,
probably we would be crashed a lot.
I think I personally liked rituals being the meta 100%, but I do think they were way too overtuned, and I think this 20 to 25% nerf is fair. I could be wrong. I know Omid doesn't agree with me, but let me just say my piece for a minute, and then you know, Omid, you can tell me whatever, and if anyone else has any input. But when it comes to rituals, right? The best method for combat right now is Platypus Armored Phantoms for AFK, right? It's like 1.5 mil. And then other stuff comes to like 1.2 fully AFK. If you put in a little bit more effort, you can get like 1.6, 1.7, you know, Phantoms if you're using like Threads of Fate and stuff like that. So then you look at rituals, and if you're spamming Darkness and you were doing rituals, you're getting 3 mil, right? So it was double. But then yeah.
Sorry, I don't think spamming Darkness is like worth it for like anyone.
Oh no, so 2.7.
It's not going to be like a realistic training.
2.7 then, or like Gecu was getting 2.75 and he wasn't doing Darkness, right? So we could take that instead.
It's like 2.9, like I think peak if you do everything perfectly.
Okay,
Sorry.
right. So that's still nearly twice the XP, right?
Yes.
And
double,
if you were spamming Darkness, it was more than double. So I think my issue lied with the rituals being too far too good that you didn't feel like you were getting any XP at all whenever you did any combat. And I personally would have liked, so like Hermod and the first Necromancer, I think are both really good bosses for what they're intended to do. Hermod gets you that early experience with a rotation and is like Gold Dungeon 2 style, and then you get a really good crafted rotation and DPS, and you know, you learn the combat way better at Raziel when you get there. And I think if they incentivize you to do the new content, to do that, that's instanced, so you can't get crashed, just like how rituals can't really be crashed, right? And they should have made it so Raziel was competitive to rituals. So you could either choose to AFK combat and get like no XP, or you could do rituals, get high XP, or you could do active PVM and get high XP. So then you have 3 choices. I think that's so much better because you're putting your skill to play, and then also you're doing the new content, either rituals or bossing, more than just AFKing. And I don't know why Jagex were like, hey, we're going to give you half XP from bosses. It just made 0 sense to me. Like, even if they just made it full XP for Necro bosses, I think it would be fine. Existing bosses being half or something like that. I don't know whether that's unpopular take and whether you guys agree with me, but
so you're saying like they should buff Raziel XP to be the best or potentially a competitor to rituals, which I don't don't disagree with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. But in the current state, do you think rituals needs a nerf compared to AFK combat?
Yeah, so I would say like AFK combat being like 1.5 for best, because you need a lot of gear and you need a lot of stuff unlocked, versus rituals where you need like nothing. But I think it should still be more. So rituals should be like 2 mil, which I think they're going to nerf it to about 2.1.
If it's 2 mil, no one's going to do it.
Yeah, but they will.
Well,
Probably
okay.
too active.
Let me
frenzy fishing.
AFK.
Frenzy fishing is not fun. Rituals are fun.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you all a question.
Yeah.
Do you think in the past week more XP has been gained through combat or rituals post level 90? You think rituals?
I did a poll in my chat and it was like 65% rituals and 35% combat.
I'd be very surprised if it's because all the people doing combat are AFK. They're not at the computer.
Well, they're watching the stream if they're AFK, right? You know,
I'd be very surprised if rituals has more XP in the last week.
At post 90.
Post 90, yeah. I'd be very shocked.
I'd be surprised too. I mean, the fact that it's so active compared to the AFK metas for combat, that a lot of people have said that a nerf there's so much controversy around nerfing this. I really don't think that there's a need for it, but you have to kind of look at the overall health of the game. Like, is 2.75 mil XP an hour for a skill like where they want it to be overall compared to where other skills are at? That's kind of just how my mind works. But I think it's fine. Like, I personally think it's fine.
They rebalanced the whole of the combat to make it so the XP wasn't too outlandish, and now the XP is outlandish. So it kind of goes against their philosophy on that, right?
It being a lot, it being just stating it as like 2.7 simply is like, it's all relative because it's a 120 skill and rituals requires a lot of effort. It's not like it's like, oh, it's a 2.7 mil and that's it versus like 1.5. It's like it's 2.7 mil for 240 times more inputs and constant attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very, very fair like effort equating reward because I don't know.
You think it's fair to get double XP
for 240 times more effort?
Yeah.
More inputs? Yes.
You think double XP is fine? I think that's crazy.
It's 240 times more. It's like saying, like, do you think that PVMers should get more GB per hour because they're putting in more effort than like someone using Revolution or someone like worse? Like, why do they deserve to get faster kills per hour?
Well, that's different because that's like a skill difference.
I mean, it takes a certain amount of skill to do.
I guess Omid's arguing.
I
was going to say the skill expression in rituals is quite high if you want to do it at the top end. So
exactly.
Like, most people aren't like, if you average everyone doing rituals post level 90, I'd be very surprised if it's more than 2.5.
They broke too. Yeah,
it'd be very low because it's just like very difficult to like maintain really high XP per hour.
Especially now the race mentality is over and people are just kind of lean backing. Like,
for me, like, I think the 20 to 25% nerf's fine, but it should be done when the amnesty is lifted.
When what?
The amnesty period, the 6 months, is lifted.
Oh, I don't even know why there's a grace period for that.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
Bonus XP?
I don't get that.
So
bonus XP.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm talking about like when the 6 months period is lifted, right?
Oh,
like when.
Okay,
so now we're talking about like the longevity of the game. I think rituals are fine how they are now, but I think after 6 months they should deserve that 20% nerf. They should be nerfed to 2 mil because you're now getting 6% avatar. You're getting 10% of other people's pulse scores when they're around you. You're getting 2% Valentine's Slam. You're getting double XP bonus if you want to use it, and like you can push. If it was its current rates, you can push like 7.5 mil an hour.
Well, it's all relative. Like combat is also going up. It's not like combat is like staying low, and it's just I feel like just looking at the number alone, like it being 2.7 or 7 mil with everything is like kind of irrelevant in my opinion.
You just look at the ratio between the two.
Yeah, just look at the ratio and the effort and the fact that it's a 120 skill.
Yeah, I just don't think it warrants 200% versus 100%. I do agree that rewarding, like being active is 200% XP and being AFK is 100%. I think it should be like a reward of like 50% more XP, which it still would be with the nerf.
My ultimate question would be, if you think, okay, let's say the total combat XP gained in the past week is more than ritual XP, okay? That means at least there's 2 times more people doing combat than rituals. Do you think it's balanced in that regard? If it's,
I still believe, for me personally, if a method is overpowered, it doesn't matter how many people are using it. Like,
well, overpowered is relative to like how many people are using it, right? Like if something is like if something is strong but it's like basically impossible to execute, it doesn't make it overpowered, right?
Well, of course, but rituals are not impossible to execute.
Well, yeah, but obviously I was making an extreme example. But like in this case, like if there's at least 2 times more people doing combat compared to rituals, which is what it would be if combat XP is
there could
more.
Be that, but that would just be people AFKing at work and stuff, and that's like the only thing you can really AFK because you can't AFK rituals.
Well, but that's, I would argue that AFKing is overpowered. You're doing 0 inputs for 5 mil XP per hour.
Oh, I
That's
completely
insane.
agree. I think Necromancy should have been no Revo plus plus, but that's a different conversation.
Okay, that's well then. The nerf is relative to Revolution. Like the nerf of the suggested the reason I'm against the nerf is because it would bring it way too far down compared to AFK, to the point where no one will be incentivized to actually do rituals, because why bother do rituals for 25% more XP when you can just fully AFK?
Well, it should be still 40% more XP, 50%.
I don't
more
think
XP.
many people would do it for 40%.
You reckon?
I don't think many. I'd be very surprised if there's more total XP from rituals than it is combat. But obviously, only JX has the data for this.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if that is the case, I would say it's balanced.
I reckon you're probably right in saying that there's more combat XP coming into the game now from combat as opposed to rituals. But I would put that with a caveat next to it saying maybe you could use the past week of data prior to them announcing that they were going to nerf rituals. I reckon that rituals have probably picked back up since that announcement.
That's true, 100%. I think a lot more people are doing rituals now because they know it's going to get nerfed. But basically, you don't want to include people racing because I think those are outliers, and I don't think you should balance around them. And obviously, now
100%. I agree with that. But I just feel like I think the only difference we have, me and you, Omid, is that my take on input versus XP is less severe, I guess. I think you should be rewarded slightly less.
Obviously, I was just looking at it objectively as well, but I think it's just it's not only just more inputs, it's just more fun and engaging as well. But obviously, that's subjective. But
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I completely agree. It is boring, and it's more fun to be active. But a lot of people would argue that they find rituals boring as heck because they just want to kill stuff. So I think the whole issue isn't even rituals. It isn't even AFKing. It's that there is no option to get good XP with active combat. Because I think if there was a way to get good XP with active combat, nothing else would matter. And you would just do the active combat over rituals. If you're a combat-focused player, you'd do rituals if you're a skiller man. And everyone's happy. I think at the moment, everyone's not happy because they nerfed boss XP and stuff, I think it would have been way more balanced and way more better if they allowed because I worked it out. If first Necromancer Raziel is 50 XP per 1k, like how AFK is, he would be 1.6 to 2 mil an hour right now.
I think that Raziel being 2 mil XP an hour would be okay if his drops weren't insanely common, because in that case every drop is going to be worth nothing.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake for them to have Raziel drop tier 95 anyway.
Yeah,
I think it should have been tier 92. Sorry, Omid.
I was going to say, do you think most people like this nerf? Do you think this nerf is popular?
It depends on who you ask. I think it's popular with combat-focused players, unpopular with people who want to be efficient.
I think it's popular among people who don't understand how much effort rituals actually are. The type of people who haven't even given it a shot, who haven't tried it themselves, and they think you just click there and you wait.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sounds like the continuous 4-tick auto attack conundrum.
Yeah.
I heard I heard a comment mentioned about the long-term health of the game, and I reckon something Jagex probably needs to consider is the impact that double XP will have on rituals in the terms of how we've got halved in, or you can't disassemble invention items for double XP, but you get double the item experience during DXPs and prayers turned off and stuff. I think that they probably need to look into maybe turning off double XP on ritual random events, so
if
that
they weren't nerfing it, I would agree.
I think even with a nerf, you're still going to be looking at 5 mil XP per hour on double XPs once everything's back on.
Yeah, but then AFK would be much closer to that. It would be 3.5, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Instead of 3.5 versus 7.
Yeah.
But I do agree with that. I think that's a good take as well. I actually didn't really think about it that way. I think so. For me, I think Jagex were either had to be really early with this nerf, or they had to do it late. The way they're doing it now is the worst time they ever could do it, because the people that have raced are done. They don't really care. But then the normal players who are still leveling are now annoyed because the race has ruined it for them because they've already got their XP and now it's getting nerfed because they publicized it or whatever, right? So the average Joe who's playing the game is now punished for like no reason really. Whereas if they nerfed it 6 months down the road, or just did what Stormy said and don't allow it on double XP for rituals, then they kind of fixed that, not being, too harsh to the current player base. And then if they did it straight away, like the day of we discovering it, then I think that would have been fine as well. I think it's the timing as well, right?
I don't think there's ever going to be a situation where everyone is going to be happy. And I mean, with that being the reality, I mean, kudos to Jagex. At least the communication since release has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, I think
that's
compared
true, yeah.
to any previous release, the level of communication about changes, nerfs, bugs, whatever it might be, has been really awesome. And so there's going to be a lot of people that are unhappy about this nerf. I mean, people in the Iron Man community are rushing rituals as much as possible because once that nerf happens, they're going to be so annoyed doing low level rituals just to be able to upkeep for tier 3 rituals. And so, I mean, in the end, not everyone's going to be happy. And so, but I think the level of communication and the foresight to know that this is something that's going to happen is kind of the best of a worse situation for those that aren't happy about what's to come.
I think a lot of people don't actually realize as well, like the people who are reacting badly to it are still under the impression that a 50% nerf is happening when it's more likely to be closer to 20 to 25.
Read the news.
I think 20% is somewhat fair personally, but I know you guys don't. So I know like XP rates have got quicker in RuneScape 3, and like inputting obviously yields better results. Do you think for the long term of the game, if a skill is over 2 million experience an hour, do you think that's fine and healthy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think something being overly grindy to the point where it becomes unfun or it feels like a waste of your time is not good. It might be not healthy for the...
What is that point to you? Like, what XP rate would be like overly grindy?
I don't like pinpointing a number because again, it's all relative, because like it's also subjective. Like, I enjoyed rituals up to the point that I did it, but I don't know if I would have enjoyed it for another like 50 hours, for example.
Yeah,
like I can't tell you, and I think it just depends on the activity as well.
Right.
I think if you look at like the player base these days, that for RS3, like grinding out like 300,000, 400,000 XP an hour for agility is not what it was like 10, 15 years ago. And
I 100% agree. Yeah,
so I think that given the audience today, like higher XP rates doesn't devalue previous achievements, doesn't take away from people's enjoyment of the game. I actually think it will encourage more people to be more engaged and kind of look towards the end game and exploring things that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
I also just wanted to include, sorry, I don't think it'd be good. Well, I don't know if it'd be good or bad for the long term health of the game, but it'd be better for the happiness of the players, which might mean that like they're spending less time grinding the skills, so engaging less with the game or logged into the game less, but they might be encouraged more to play the game or tell other people to play the game because they're more happier playing the game, because they're not grinding the game as long and hard as previous times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good perspective.
With how popular old school is and how grindy old school is, do you think that RS3 just wouldn't do well with a grindy skill then? Archaeology was pretty grindy and I think it did pretty well.
It was grindy at the end. I don't know how... Was it that grindy? Like...
Yeah, the experience an hour early is god-awful for RS3.
I think it just felt good because of the progression of the skill.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's why I always say it's like relative, right? Like Archaeology, I felt like I was constantly moving forward and doing different like collections and trying to figure out different things. The only time that I felt like I was stuck was the Armadillo spot. Was it like 113?
Oh yeah, 113 to 115.
That was the only time where I felt like I was just like, God, I'm not doing anything.
I think they filled that in a little bit with like the
Dragonkin.
Dragonkin, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question, I guess. When it comes to Necromancy, right? I think the XP being really fast isn't too bad because it's a combat skill. You want to get 120, you want to deal damage and do your thing. You want to go bossing, so you want to get the highest stats, and then you can go bossing. I think that's like fair to say high XP rates are good for that. But I think people would have been more happy with a slower XP rate on rituals if they actually changed or had more added to them post 99.
You mean rituals or combat
rituals.
post 99?
So, like, I think rituals are so overpowered XP and people don't mind doing them because you don't have to do them for too long. Like you said, you did them for like 50 hours. You were fine doing it for that, but if you had to do it for longer than that, you might have got a bit too bored. I think you wouldn't have felt anywhere near as bored, or you would have had an enjoyment increase, even if it was a slower XP rate, if they just made the content a bit better, because there is no unlocks post 99 Necromancy.
Sure.
I think that's a major problem with most of the skills, or not most of the skills, but just like in general, like when they came out with Invention, it didn't feel like there was much past 120. Like they had to do a batch 2. Like I don't really understand why the skill goes to 120 at all if it doesn't
it's so dumb.
have anything, and it doesn't even like it makes sense not to scale combat wise beyond 99, but it's just weird.
I think it would have been much better received if what Maikeru is trying to say about rituals is like, what if there was a new ritual site unlocked at level 100, 110, and 120 in various
different
areas
events
around that had different events and different interactions. They were still the same thing, more or less, and they would have scaled the same way, but it would have taken you to a different location, getting you to experience a different thing. It would have had that more archaeology feeling to it.
And they could have probably have got away with the new proposed rates much easier if you didn't mind doing it for that amount of time, right? Because at the moment, if they nerf it by 20%, you have to do it for an extra 20 hours. But I feel like you would have been happier to do it for the extra 20 hours if it actually changed and was a bit more interesting. Does that make sense?
I think it'd be fine in isolation, but the fact that there's an alternative method where you can AFK for such a high XP per hour, it kind of that's the only reason. Like it's like the XP per hour being like lower or the same is like in isolation isn't a problem, right? But when the fact that there is an alternative method that is 100% AFK, like you're literally like not pressing many buttons per hour, right? The fact that that exists kind of makes it so rituals needs to be like good, like higher XP per hour. You know what I mean?
I think combat XP could be nerfed further than what it just has been.
But the thing is, I would counteract your argument a little bit with, yes, there is AFK ways to get that XP if you're a max player going into it with a lot of money and a lot of stuff at your disposal, a lot of buffs, all of that.
How much money does it actually take to do AFK?
Well, you would need like a decent amount of like fundamental gears, and you'd need overloads unlocked. You would need prayers unlocked. So like it's more than just going into it as like a new player, right? So I would argue that rituals are overtuned because a new player could literally pick up rituals and get that 2 million experience an hour, Iron Man style, like Gecu got. Whereas if they did combat, they are getting 500k.
I mean, just comparing like Archaeology release to Necromancy release, it just feels like a very incomplete skill for one that's supposed to go all the way to 120. Like with Archaeology, you felt progression all the way through 120, but but with Necromancy after 99, yes, you're doing more damage, crit chance increases, all of that. But other than that, you're doing the same stuff. You're not, there's no new rituals, there's no new anything really. We know that it'll fill out, but it just on release, it just feels like it doesn't make sense as a 120 skill yet.
Yeah. Did you guys still enjoy your 99 to 120 and like 120 plus experience? Or did you guys feel like it was lacking something? For me personally, like I enjoyed the rituals. I think the rituals are made well. I like the events. I like the whole like fundamentals of the rituals. You have the glyphs that can like change them. I like the idea and I like the concept, and they've done it pretty well. But it didn't feel like a 120 skill at all. I feel like they've just slapped it on there and then released it.
Oh yeah, I mean, regardless of rituals or combat, it didn't feel like a 120 skill.
Like even if you're just doing combat,
The only thing you unlock post level 90, by the way, from 90 to 120 is Split Soul. That is
and a couple of glyphs, but you can boost to those anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, like sorry, combat wise, it's just Split Soul. This is like very, very, very vacant.
Yeah, see, that's crazy, right?
They've very intentionally left it open-ended with the push of the Necromancy season. You know, they've made it very clear to
you
us.
reckon they're going to add?
Yeah, they've made it very clear that the intention for the next 6 months is to basically be fully Necromancy focused and to fill out the rest of the skill. And I reckon that's exactly what they're going to do.
That makes sense in terms of like there not being anything there, and they're going to focus on filling it out. But I don't know why they
should have launched with that.
Yeah, they should have either launched with that, or they should have launched it as a 99 skill and expanded to 120 later.
Yeah,
because there's no reason for it to go to 120 now.
I 100% agree. Like, I think it's obvious that they're gonna fill it out over the months to come, but like, it just doesn't feel very good. The fact that you're going from 90 to 120 and just unlocking like a single thing just makes the like. I feel like if anyone's like actually like super interested in the combat and engaging with the combat, and the only thing I unlock is one thing from 90 to 120, it must feel very like stagnating and just dull.
I actually completely agree with what Dave said. They could have 100% launched this with a 99 and just made a cosmetic 120 cape like they have with every other skill, and it would have felt exactly the same as what it does currently.
Definitely.
What do you think those new things between 90 and 120 will be? So one conjure we know for sure, and I think it's going to be that one in the artwork on the login screen, right?
Should be.
I definitely think there's going to be more than just one conjuration to give us like a limitation of what we choose. Yeah.
So what are like? Do you have any ideas on things they can add? I think they'll add like a phantom conjure.
They could do anything. I kind of had a thought that it could mirror like the spirit effect from Armored Phantoms, where like you have to stun them in order to clear them. Maybe the Armored Phantom could have sort of stun mechanic inbuilt into it, or
I just want like signature heroes as conjurations. Like, let me conjure up Zanuck so I can pull it off again.
What the heck? Just so you can have another character model. But Zanuck's like 9th model as a ghost. Or something.
But like, what if you could like conjure up like Arav? I don't know if anyone knows the lore of like Arav.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like,
yeah, I helped get his shield.
Well, because like he was basically necromancied by Zemrugel for like a very long time, and he seems to be like a main villain right now of the story.
That's a good point, yeah, because Zemrugel's coming up in the next story. So
Arav can be like, summon me up and I will fuck him up, kind of thing.
Maybe Arav will feature in the boss fight.
Oh, that'd be so sick! Imagine you have to like help the people that he's wronged to like get their revenge on him and help you in the fight. Like you have them come help to the ones that he messed up, like Arav.
It also kind of fits fits the lore of necromancy, because the lore of necromancy is that we're asking our spirits to fight for us, and Arav and the player have always had that very friendly relationship. So,
Yep.
So, was there anything that surprised you guys during the race, other than like I guess rituals?
I joked about. I was like telling everyone that rituals is definitely going to be the best XP per hour on release, and it actually happened. And
yeah, I think the thing we were probably all surprised by was like all the theory crafting that went into it regarding how we were going to do a combat and our shabties and all our combat supplies and everything, and then it just all went to nothing. Ken was like, Ken would have been like, "Oh yeah, you beauty," because Ken came back like 2 days before Necromancy and then had nothing.
I think actually, the fact that it shits it over the rituals was like really good for me, because I didn't even have any like endgame shabties like ready, so I would have had to like go collect new shabties or something. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I was very, very unprepped for this. So yeah, I was very happy for it to turn out to be ritual, like for the best XP. Also, I love rituals, by the way. So
I spent like 150 hours just preparing for this race, thinking that it was going to be a combat focused, and then I think I used 30 minutes of all of that prep with the actors. I had saved up literally nothing else.
Yeah, it's just the early things, right?
Yeah.
Like you use maybe Banshees and Anku and maybe Shadow Warriors or something, and then even Bound Skeletons I only used for a tiny bit, and then I started doing like Armored Zombies and Abyssal Demons and stuff.
I was scared because there's like things that I like couldn't get. Like I didn't have time to get a divine flask. It's like, oh no, what if that's really good? I mean, I guess realistically, it was only good early game, so it didn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. It probably wouldn't have mattered in game. Yeah, plus a flask.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like at the end game, you have like penance powder and all that shit. But
were you guys surprised by how much you enjoyed, or if you enjoyed rituals? Because I didn't think rituals was going to be. I thought rituals was going to be like AFK.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was that AFK thing that
Yeah.
everyone who playtested, we could only playtest that tiny little bit at the start.
Yeah,
right?
and it was
So
100% AFK.
you do the and you didn't get any ritual random events because you had like no attraction. So you might see one and then just like, oh, okay, you click it, you get a little bit more XP. No one ever thought that was going to equate to more XP than combat.
Yeah, when I actually heard the new skill was Necromancy was a combat skill, I was like, oh, I mean, I guess it's okay, but I kind of like skills like Archaeology was such a cool release and like had so many different like ways you can improve your XP per hour. And I think rituals like really was actually really good skilling content where like if you put in like full effort, you get way better XP rates, and like I think that's a really cool part of ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think rituals were really fun in that regards. And also, like, do you think Jagex planned for rituals to be meta?
I think
Clearly
with them nerfing it, no.
Clearly not.
Right.
We always seem to surprise them somehow.
Yeah.
We were getting those tomes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
the first
it was
day. Oh my god, I missed
I was
it.
asleep during that, dude.
I was too.
I don't think anyone like used the tomes. To be fair, I think it was just literally like
People definitely use those tomes.
wait, really?
Oh yeah.
I got
Wait.
five tomes, but fortunately they nerfed it.
I think I got like 70
Oh my
What?
god.
because
Yeah.
I was the person who found
Yeah.
it, but like I didn't use any of them.
Did you use them, Dave?
I used the first few until Mod Ryan said not to use them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used. Sorry, I also.
But did you use
used,
them when
like-
they got re-enabled?
No, I didn't. But
I mean, like, I know a lot of people that did, so if you did, it's fine. Like, I mean-
really, wait, who? But like, it wasn't around for that long, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you do with your 70 odd then, Omid? Did you just destroy them, or
I
did you just like
destroyed them.
just leave them in the bank?
This ethical player. Yeah, see, there was a lot of
Yeah,
people that did
the
exactly
ethical
that, Omid, and definitely did not destroy them. I was asleep, so I got one.
I was
Yeah.
asleep,
literally-
yeah.
I woke up as they were about to nerf it, and I literally got one tome, and then they took them away, and I was
Yeah,
like, no.
I think it only lasted for like after I discovered it, it was like around for like 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It
Yeah.
wasn't, so they couldn't have gotten more than like 70, I don't think, unless they did it before.
Yeah, but 70 is a
me,
lot of
but-
XP.
Huh?
70 is a lot of XP.
I mean, even the raw XP without the tome is actually kind of a lot. Because it was like apparently spawning a lot, right? Like even the raw
Oh,
XP
yeah.
from the event is like kind of crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. But
Because you had attraction of like 1,000 and what is it, 1,300%, and they were spawning on the lowest ones. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Was
your
just-
XP was crazy.
But I bought the like 50 powerful ink. Guess for how much each? Because
5
obviously,
mil.
like,
No.
5 mil each.
8 mil each.
Oh,
I
my
paid
God.
8
I
mil
bought
as
50
well.
for like 440 mil.
Yeah, I paid a lot as well.
I was watching your stream as you were like figuring out that rituals were going to be the play, and I was on my alt buying the ink because I was like already preparing to do that. So I bought up like
8.1 right underneath you.
I bought up like 1,000 ink for 4 mil each, and then you bought them for 8,
Oh,
and I was like, holy.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not buying anymore. I gotta wait. I gotta use these up first. Like, you spent 8 mil on yours.
Yeah, I did the same.
Actually,
I bought a lot.
I was buying them in increments of like 100 on an
Yeah, I
alt
was
account.
buying them slowly.
that's an interesting topic. Actually, it's like streamers versus non-streamers. Like, how much, like, for the people who didn't stream, like, how much info do you think you got from streams that like actually gave you an advantage? Like, do you think it actually like you were able to pull info from streams?
Big time.
Wazzy gave me the idea to
Yeah.
try like fully juiced rituals.
Yeah, and I think
Because he was doing like medium rituals and he was getting like really good XP. So I was like, I'm level 90. I can do like fully juiced rituals.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
yeah.
I think that was the advantage that I managed to get there because I was doing savages while watching both you and Wazzy, and I was like putting it together, sort like I guess at the same time as you, I guess. And that's just like I went straight into it and just started trying stuff out. Because like if I were streaming, I wouldn't have been watching anyone, so I wouldn't have had that info.
They were testing the rituals while we could just watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still
Yeah.
get XP yourselves, right? You didn't have to do the testing. Yeah. It's pretty a big advantage. Like a lot of people shout at streamers for like exposing methods and stuff, but a lot of times like the streamers find and test the
Why are you
methods.
laughing, Omid?
What do you mean exposing methods?
That's what people say. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
but they
this...
just perm ban them.
Oh, no, I'm not saying they were saying it in my chat. I'm saying they say it on Reddit and stuff. And they're like, oh, the nerfs only happening because people streamed it. It's like, yeah, but the people who streamed it also theory crafted it and like helped get the XP rates where they were and, you know,
And it
figure
could
out
happen
X, Y,
off
and Z.
stream anyway.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a streamer's fault for rituals getting nerfed right now.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like I did 700 attraction like all the way to 200 mil, and that was before anybody had known. But somebody I was sitting in.
How did you get it, Dave? I was about to ask you that. How did you get it that 700 would be the meta?
I mean, I was just like, I think because Maikeru, you were one of the first people to just start trying like lower attractions, and I think you were just so fried on stream that like you didn't reset your metrics. So when you tried it, your XP stayed high, but you didn't reset it. So I was kind of skeptical. So I stayed at the high attraction and I just kept watching as your XP slowly like went down. And that's sort of how I figured out that like you have to be getting higher level events with higher attraction. So I just kept doing that.
Yeah, my thought process was the end of the ritual not having to sit there for the extra 7 seconds was like justifying enough to not get quite as many of the high tier ones if they were giving you high tier ones. And I know like Raul came second and he used speed.
Yeah,
so I don't think there was that much of a difference between the 700% and the 610 plus speed.
Oh, there was.
There was, yeah, because I was over 20 mil XP ahead.
Yeah, I think it was like 300k.
Yeah.
An hour.
You reckon it was that much difference?
Yeah, it was at least 10% better.
Because
Raul, would it be safe to say using speed you were losing random events at the end sometimes, and that's probably where you were losing your XP because like you had like 2 seconds to click off. Sometimes you missed that event right at the end.
Even not including that, I think the 700% was way better.
I was using speed to not have to waste that last second. So
so you speed 1.
Yeah, I think what speed 1.
Oh, speed 1, right?
Okay, yeah.
I think if I use the 700 would be better, but I probably wouldn't catch up to Dave anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it was really only like Glue who was on my ass for a long time. But then
I thought he was getting rank 2 like all the time. I felt like he would get rank 2 and I didn't know that he did stop.
Yeah, he had like a family thing that came up or something, so then he had to go help that, and that meant he had to stop racing, and then he just didn't care about it after that because he couldn't get rank 1, so he didn't carry on. Like, I don't even think he's 200 mil now.
Yeah.
For you, Dave, hypothetically, do you think if Glue had have kept going, he would have got rank 1?
Probably. I mean, he was such a he is such a gamer. Like he's just so good at every game that he plays. He would have kept ahead of, or I don't know if he was ahead of me, but he would have kept pace at least. Because he was just like, he surprised me at how much he stayed with me. Because like I think I had a 4 mil lead and then I went to sleep. And when I came back, I must have had a higher lead than that. But when I came back, it was like within 500k until he stopped. And that was like just messing with me. It was the whole reason that I kept grinding. Like if I had known that he stopped, I would have probably gone back to sleep. Because
I remember one day just I randomly said Dave could probably just go to sleep. Honestly, he's so far ahead. And then he's in chat. And he's like, "I'm not going to sleep." Glue is like, right behind.
Dude, and that was the weirdest part because I had 2 separate friends who were telling me that they're friends with Glue or friends with friends of his, and they were like, "Yeah, he's playing with his tracker off," and I was like, "Bro, why would you tell me that?"
Oh no.
I mean, that helped you a bit.
Yeah, that pushes you. Right?
Yeah, I knew that I, like, with that information, thinking it's true, I knew that I couldn't stop and I had to keep going. And then finding out at like 195 that he actually just stopped, I was like, bro.
Yeah, that's funny. You're so close when it
Sucked a little bit.
Yeah.
the psychological aspect of the race with everyone else is like so interesting. I find because like for the first part of the race, I had my XP on public, and then I found like once I hit like 100 mil or something like
you
that.
put it in private. It was so annoying.
I privated everything. Yeah.
That's definitely an advantage having the private XP.
Yeah, it is.
But
that's why I did it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
like you obviously
too.
don't log out and stuff, so people can't track you that way. Like you try to stay
It's a
logged in
bitch
for as long as
move.
possible.
it is. I do
Yeah.
think it is a bitch
Yeah.
move. Like
Bitch move.
I was so pissed off in the moment, thinking that Glue had done that. I was like, why? Like the fuck would anybody do that? Like that's just so cancer.
I'm a bitch. I'm a bitch for sure. Then
Yeah, and
Yeah.
probably Glue doesn't even know how he messed it with us, like our minds.
Yeah,
He
he's
just
just
went out
spending-
and like didn't even care.
he went for a 20-kilometer
just
hike
vibing.
and he went down. You know, like
And we were all thinking about him.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's funny.
Don't you think it's crazy though that like Dave like figured out the 700% and we all like kind of settled with the speed?
I don't think we settled. I think it is just like what Dave said. When we're all so lack of sleep, we're testing it on stream, and we have like a very small sample size when we're testing. But we also don't want to do the worst one for longer, so we're like really trying. And then if you don't see any difference, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it how it is, right?
I feel like we're confirmation biasing ourselves.
Yeah,
I think we definitely like we should have been more like willing to test stuff and figure stuff out. I definitely think we all
Yeah.
settled. I think we all just kind of griefed ourselves and just
Although I will say I hate tomes, and I hope they don't keep adding
Oh,
them to
yeah.
skills. They're really annoying.
Yeah, tomes
Yeah,
are
the
annoying.
RNG
because
of
it messes
tomes
with
is
your
not
XP
good.
per hour.
It's- yeah.
It's not.
I
Not
didn't get a
good.
single fucking tome. I swear they're like Omid has 70 tomes. That's why I
Yeah.
destroyed them because I was like, fuck, maybe
Yeah.
the tomes in my bank are like preventing me from getting tomes. I didn't get a single tome for like 20 mil XP. I was losing my
Yeah,
mind.
I think
Yeah,
I was
don't
at
like
Ken's
that.
stream on the side. He's getting
Yeah.
fucking tomes every
He was
single
getting them so often. I couldn't believe it.
I was actually getting tilted. I was like quiet yelling out
Dude,
my
there's one day I was getting like 3.1 mil an hour average or something. It was just, like insane.
That's
without,
crazy,
I think it was
yeah.
without darkness spam or something. Like I don't know. I was getting so many.
I
And that was with speed too.
yeah. I had both the streams unmuted, and I would just hear, "Oh, got another tome." It's like, dude, like I can't fucking believe this. Like it's been 4.5 hours since I had my last tome, bro. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and they were like really impactful early on.
Yeah.
Like getting them early on is like really good. So
Yeah.
because it like snowballs your XP. So
Yeah, when they re-enabled tomes, it took me 6.5 hours to get one.
Yikes.
I was just sitting
Ken
there
got the
in like
most.
Yeah.
depression, man, and everyone kept telling me,
No
"Oh,
shot,
Ken's
no
got
shot.
4 in his inventory." Fuck off, Ken! I don't care.
Dude, it would actually send me off every time you just monotone, be like, "Oh, I got another one, guys." I'm like,
Yeah.
they seem like streaky. I
They
get
feel
like
super
3 or
streaky.
4, and then I get like none for a while. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Yeah.
very-
I don't know.
Yeah,
How
crazy.
much did you guys spend on Necromancy?
Like 20
0.
mil.
Yeah. I spent 20, 25.
Probably around that for me too.
I was
I
20 as
spent-
well. 20 to
I
25.
spent around 30 to 35.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because you did darkness from level 100. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was.
I
really
spent 5 bill.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm
spent
surprised
15
you guys
bill on darkness
Really?
on its own.
I was doing like Greater Bone Shield into Invoke Death into Darkness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So because you can't do Great Bone Shield and Invoke Death on cooldown, but when those are on cooldown, I would use Darkness, which was
I
like
did that when I first started, when the prices were a bit
It's like-
higher. Then I
it's
just
like a
spammed
lot more
darkness.
effort, but it's like roughly the same XP per hour. It's not that much less than Darkness spamming.
I liked Bone
I just
Shield.
did darkness for the keybind
Yeah.
because having a singular keybind for that spam was like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like way more brainless. So I could just press the one key over and over
Yeah.
and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to do Bone Shield for a bit, and I was like getting worse XP rates because I had to like use defense. Well, I guess you didn't have to, but you know, if you wanted to get optimal XP rates, if you were
I
just
Paying
Yeah.
attention
it.
to cooldowns and stuff.
I
I really dislike spell spamming.
I really
Yeah,
like
the spell
wish that
spamming was
didn't
the least
exist.
fun
Yeah.
part.
Yeah,
I think that took
I hope
away
they
from
learned from this.
Yeah.
This race.
I really liked how
Don't
the
do it
Bone
again.
Shield spam was actually like you had to pay attention to it. Like you turn
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Bone Shield, you use Resonance, you turn it off in the same tick because you can turn it off
Mhm.
GCD.
Oh
right?
yeah, dude, that was
Wait,
actually.
that's a
I
thing?
did that for a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Hang on,
what
wait,
I
that
tried
was.
to
I
do.
didn't even know that was a thing. Would that not put? What
No.
was the effect of that?
You got more XP for reactivating it.
Yeah.
Turning off
Oh.
Bone Shield did not incur global cooldown, so you do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I see. I didn't even
But
know that was a
turning
thing.
on would incur global cooldown and give you XP.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like as soon as we started rituals, I started doing that because that was like
Yeah.
super.
Yeah.
I found that was fun, just keeping track of the cooldowns
Yeah.
and just knowing what to do.
I think I would have rather just focused on rituals.
100%.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was. I feel like it took away from the
But
fun.
comparing,
I was
spamming
getting
spells.
did anyone else get pins and needles in their hand from spamming the keybind? Because
I
I was
do.
having
No.
I got literal pins and needles.
I have-
Wait, did
Yeah,
you guys
I
use
did.
queuing? Did you guys use queuing?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I
queue. I
queued.
didn't like
What?
queuing. No, I didn't like it.
I queued, but I still
Y'all are
got it after like
insane.
8 hours of the same hand position. So then I would have to like
Hmm.
swap to my mouse, and I'd use my side button on my mouse to use it as a keybind.
Side. That, I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
that
I had a
would
double
bother.
bound.
Well, only when my hand was like really dead. So I'd like rest that for
Okay.
like 30 minutes and use my mouse.
I have a.
What kind of?
Sorry, I was just gonna say I have a video on my phone of me showing a friend of mine like how I was doing it, and literally my left hand is red and swollen from like how fucking.
Holy.
Man
Jesus.
after my own heart, right there. Mine wasn't quite that bad, but mine was pretty bad. Pins and needles.
Yeah, I was a bit sad with getting 22nd, I think, just because like Stormy, you got it and you raided me, and like 3 hours later I got it. So in those 3 hours, like 10 people got it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And
It
I
was really
think
close
I got
between 10th as well. So 10th
Yeah.
got it. 10th got it an hour before me, and then
Mhm.
11th got it just before me, and then I got 12th, and then
Yeah, I remember. And then like in those 3 hours there was 10 people, so it was like popping
Yeah,
up
it's
every
crazy.
like 50,
So
I
close.
10,
lost rank by
15
3
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was all so
It's
close.
close.
And I
yeah.
think I got a bit annoyed with myself personally because I didn't sleep. Or like also I got like I don't know, it was like I was so tired that if I just slept for 2 hours, I would have been like rank 15.
Mhm.
Because I would have got way more XP. I spent like 4 hours getting like 1.5 million experience because I was so tired. In the end, like I just powered through and I got Crystal to put ice down my back, and that's what did it. Like literally her putting an ice cube down my back and like waking me up, like that then just sent me to it, and I focused and I just went ham and I got it. But
Another unfair
I'm
advantage.
kind of annoyed with myself. Yeah, another
Yeah,
unfair
can't believe
advantage.
that.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think for me the standing desk was probably the biggest thing.
Oh
That's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Having a standing desk was insane. Like it was so
Yeah.
good. I was basically like, I spent like multiple periods of time for like hours on end, quite literally like dancing around my PC.
Yeah,
Like, that's how much movement I had.
Same.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a good thing. I just I got a bit annoyed with myself not sleeping a bit extra, and trying to push because I know like in my own brain like I can't stay up for longer than like 25 hours without completely like getting fatigued, and I stayed up for like 36 in the last push. But like I was only staying up like 18, 20 and then sleeping for 2.5, and that was working. So I should have just got that extra 2.5, and then I would have done way better. But yeah, it's like hindsight bias, right? You're in the moment, you want to push, you want to go for it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Actually, like I've been world racing in Final Fantasy 14, like world races, and in
Yeah, I saw
those you
those.
actually sleep a lot more because you need like to think like more clearly.
yeah.
It's not as brain dead as RuneScape, and like when the rituals became like the best XP, I was like, I'm gonna need to sleep because I can't do these on low sleep. So that's when I
Yeah.
started like
Yeah. I
sleeping a bit more.
I think that's what made it
personally.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally,
But then you have superhumans like Dave who does it with 4 hours anyway.
Yeah, I
Man.
don't know how they. but-
yeah, I don't know how you.
the last 12 hours were awful. Like I think my XP rate was at like 2.5 mil, 2.8.
I mean,
like
that's still really good.
That's still
it was decent,
amazing.
but like I found myself like I'd go up to the soul siphon one and I'd click it once and I just stand there and it's like what am I doing? Like,
I did that. I click it once and then I'd spam darkness. So I'm just
Yeah.
standing there going,
That's exactly it.
so I'm like, what am I doing?
I know I'm supposed to spam, but I'm spamming the wrong thing. Like I should be spamming the, like
I can't click with both hands. My brain.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, I feel like everyone probably did that, right? They just
Yeah.
sit there and just
Yeah.
spam darkness instead of spamming
Yeah.
the fucking thing. God.
But that just
I
shows how
wonder-
competitive it was as well, with how many people, how quick the. Did you see it? Like, I slept at 22. When I woke up, there was 50 odd people with 200 mil, and I only slept for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Do you see how many people have it
Crazy.
now? There's like
Yeah, like
1,015.
Over 1,000.
Yeah.
yeah, crazy
God.
man.
Damn, that's
It's a
kind of
fast
nuts.
skill.
Yeah.
That's what I mean on like when I was talking about the rituals. Like I can understand if you guys don't agree with the nerf, but that's like my personal thing with the like. I don't think any new skill that has come out should have 1,000 people with 200 mil already, and I think that's just why the rituals slightly overtuned.
But would
So
you
I
have
think
more fun if it took twice as long?
if they made the rituals better.
I think if the skill had more to it, then I'd be okay with it being twice as long. Because I think a skill is something that we get so rarely that we want to make the most of it. So when
it's over
we
in
finish
5
it in
days.
6 days, we're just
Yeah.
like, shit. Now we're gonna wait another 3 years for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If it was a lot more fleshed out, but like I don't know if realistically that's.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Time constraints and stuff. I get that, but for me personally, I feel like it shouldn't have been as quick as it was, and they should have just made it a bit more interesting, and then everyone would have enjoyed the race just as much, if not more, even though it was slower.
Yeah,
And like
I mean,
skill in general for a regular player as
I
well.
wouldn't want it to be longer now in the state that it is. I don't think,
definitely
I don't think I would enjoy rituals any much longer. But
yeah, so I think that's just a design flaw of
I think it's
Necromancy not having content.
I think it's just a personal opinion on what you would do to train. Like, because back in the day when I did 200 mil fire making, there was the choice between bonfires or curly roots, and I did curly roots straight to 200 because like it was fun to get triple XP compared to bonfires. And even though it was kind of like not fun to do the actual skilling itself, it just felt good to get that extra XP. So in terms of like AFK combat for 1.5 mil versus even if rituals were 2 mil, I would probably still do rituals. But
yeah, me too.
It would also have to depend on how much it costs too. Because if the ink is like, if the ink makes it cost, I don't know, like 2 or 3 bill to get to 200 mil, I'd rather just AFK at that point, and I just wouldn't bother. Like,
I think it's racist mentality as well.
Yeah.
Because like I think that if you were tossing up now between 2 mil an hour on rituals and 1.5 mil on combat, I think most people are probably picking combat.
Well, the thing with the 1.5 mil with combat is you have to hop like 1,000,000 times to find an active world. So realistically, combat's like 1.2.
I mean,
even 1.2 is ridiculously strong for AFK.
Yeah, I think 1.2 versus 2 mil is fine though.
But I think
maybe that's just me.
Even 1.5 mil is pretty like consistent because armored phantoms are instanced, so you just have to go in and out until you get an empty one.
Well,
no, because they instance to free people.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay, so there's the cap.
So every world has someone in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you have 2 alts that you can fill it with, and then you go in. That's the only way you can like bypass it.
Yeah, I mean,
and
even
not
then,
everyone has 2 alts.
Yeah, but yeah,
the quest requirement is quite high as well, is it not?
It is. Well, no, because it's just the Fort for Entry stuff.
I don't remember. What's the quest requirement?
The quest is easy, but it requires a Slayer level of like 113.
Oh,
what? Wait,
yeah, because they're Slayer mods.
I don't
think so.
The armored phantoms.
Armored phantoms, yeah, they're 113.
Into the dungeon?
No,
what is an armored?
No, not to get into.
You don't
need
need
to kill them.
I was gonna say. I was like,
oh, you mean just if your alts want to get?
Yeah,
in there?
yeah. For
oh,
alts,
it's
like,
a 50 Slayer
ult.
quest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Armored phantoms.
Wait, where do you fight these things?
It's like the Fort for Entry
north of
stuff.
Fort for Entry.
So once you do the Raptor quest, then
okay.
there's like that dungeon that has a few different things in it.
Yeah, north of the fort in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I never knew before this race. I didn't know what a savage was. I didn't know what a beast was. There's so much new stuff. I'm just like, what are these things? I guess I'm gonna kill these. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never
think
fought a phantom either. So
Yeah, phantoms are crazy, but the platypus is OP. When it comes to the race in general, I think I lost a couple of ranks, and I know Stormy was talking about it as well, from being like efficient in quotations, but also inefficient because it turned into rituals. Because we were efficient with our time because we got tier 70 power armor made by killing a bunch of her mod, which would have been great if we did combat all the way to 200 mil. So I
Mhm.
farmed some plates, I farmed her mod, I got tier 70 power armor, and I was ready.
you?
And then rituals happened, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit, I
spent
just
three-
wasted
I
like
spent
3-4 hours.
I
Yeah.
spent 3 hours getting the armor, and then as soon as it turned to rituals, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, it
I'm
was
pretty
3 fucking
sure
hours.
it wasn't worth getting the armor or the
It
cape.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
didn't
wasn't.
get the cape,
'Cause I got
and
the
I
cape
didn't
too.
get the
Yeah, I got the
I didn't
cape
get
as
the
well.
cape or the armor, and I think that's the reason why I was so ahead of everyone
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
because it just
Yeah.
didn't make a difference.
I'm
I
It
started
would have
messing
made a
around
difference
with
later
level
on.
I
Like, the cape
don't
is
think
needed
so.
for, like, armored phantoms, for example. So if you want to invest in slot
armor-
XP, so you would
Right.
use the skulls. So, like, later on, the cape mattered, but I don't know how important the armor is, but the insta-kill is, it gives you XP for the insta-kill, like, damage-wise.
Oh right.
So
Wait, how much
it's really good.
have you
20%.
tested it without
Without the armor?
without the cape, without death skulls, with just a normal, like the normal like revolution.
Armor phantoms?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure you die without it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Because there's only 5 of them, so your death skulls will bounce and pretty much like one-shot all of them, and then they respawn, and then you kill them again.
One
and you
shot
just-
them all.
Yeah, pretty much, because death skulls is broken right now. Like, the way it works, the way it
Bro,
bounces
don't
and
they
gets
have
stronger
like a
and
ton
stronger.
of
Evolving them?
HP?
they're
Armor
like
Phantom?
50k, 55.
Yeah, well, he doesn't quite one-shot them, but you know what I mean. Like, they're already low because you would use the scythe and upgrade
Right.
So you get them down to like 30k, and then your death skulls just bounces and hits 30k on all of them because you're using salve ammo, all that
Right.
jazz. And it's disgusting. I don't think they'll be very good XP. I think you could probably kill them, but savages would just be better if you didn't have the cape. That's why it's like so
Interesting.
important to have those things. Like, I just made a video about like top monsters to AFK in ready prep for the ritual nerf because more people will be doing PVM. And yeah, like my cons on stuff like the armored phantoms is that you need a Zut cape. Whereas if you're doing savages or moss columns or something, you don't need the Zut cape. So yeah, they're like 1.2 mil versus 1.5.
Is it better to use skulls at those?
No. Because stuff like savages, there's like so many of them. Skulls has a limited bounce, whereas the zombie that you blow up is everything.
Oh, it's probably just overcap of damage, right?
Yeah, and it also they also only have 15k
management.
health. Yeah, and
Yeah.
adren management.
How much do
and all that.
golems have? HP?
They have more HP, but there's always the little ones, and then they would steal your skulls.
Oh, right. I forgot about the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Can skulls hop between targets on the same square or no?
That's
I'm
a good
not sure,
question.
actually.
Like chain, it doesn't work on targets on the same
Well,
square.
it might
A lot
not
of
actually, which means moss golems would be a disadvantage for that as well because they stack.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's nice to be able to have that like mindset of it as well, which is why I think for me personally, rituals are slightly overtuned because we're looking.
Stop saying it.
I know, right?
Actually, I'm shaking.
Because like we're looking at this from a completely max player's perspective that can get a Zut cape, that can do all of these things and has all of this gear, and like a lot of people just don't have that. So their reality of combat is like 1.1 at their like peak efficiency.
But their reality of peak efficiency at rituals would be a lot lower. Also, I feel
probably
like
2.4.
I feel like you got to try pretty hard for 2.4 still.
Yeah.
Really? You reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even just
I
like
reckon you could just run to the ritual and run back for 2.4.
Nah.
even just getting
Is it-
RNG diffed with like the events, you could get put below 2.4.
There was certain points where I was like tryharding on rituals and I was hitting like 2.4, 2.5, and I was like, I'm like
Yeah.
trying here, and I was still
Yeah, and then
that
someone in your
2.4,
chat would be
2.5
like,
rate.
Ken's getting 3.1.
Because I had my XP hidden, someone would come in and be like, Stormy, how much XP you getting? I'm like, I'm not saying, and I was like, oh my god, my XP is so low.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of RNG with the rituals. I spent with Rail like 3-4 hours tracking literally every single ritual for like every single like event for a set of rituals for multiple hours.
Like waiting?
And we found that like the XP per like set of ritual per set of events was almost exactly the same.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
over like a long period of time, for sure, that's going to even out. But there were definitely periods where you would get like 3 rituals where all you got were the fucking Skeletal Horror, and it was the worst feeling in the world. You drop to like a mil XP an hour, and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. Like, I don't know what to do.
Is the Skeletal like actually really good?
I couldn't double click it, and I still can't. To this
yeah,
day.
I can't do that either.
I did it a couple times. But
Yeah,
skill expression was just too high for me. I just couldn't do it.
No, yeah, I actually kind of like them.
The Skeletal?
Because you could wait for them to get close, and then you can just hit them.
Yeah.
They
Like,
look a lot
keep
better
channeling.
now. They have like a green cloud that spawns when you
Oh
click
yeah, I
them.
saw that. Yeah.
Once we figured out you could double click it, that's what made them interesting to me, because then it was like another extra challenge that you could go for to try and get double
I
XP.
couldn't even get the single click, let alone a double.
No. Towards the end, what I liked doing was waiting until they got right to their tile, and then the next event would spawn, and they're right in front of their tile. So you're like, all right, double click it real quick, and then get the next one.
Yeah.
I still couldn't double click even when it was next to the goddamn
Oh
tile.
no.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I didn't like it going to the tile next to it because I felt like it would like make me walk to it. It would like block me or something. Like I don't know what was happening, but
Yeah.
Behind the pedestal, it's still like that. It's bugged.
Yeah. And when it's a bit too far away as well.
Yeah, I swear. I mean, I don't want to flame here, but I swear they must have not playtested rituals a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why when I asked you guys earlier, like, do you think they intended rituals to be this overpowered? And you guys were like, no.
No way.
I think it's because they put so much time into well, I think they done it correctly though, because the race overall doesn't really matter about the skill. And they crafted the combat as best as they could. They rebalanced the whole of the combat. They made the skill fun to use. They helped with the AoE because that was what it was lacking, especially in our playtesting beforehand. That was like a big piece of our feedback. And they done really well to like craft the skill well. And I think if any bug really arose that was actually a big bug, it was ritual related. There was like a small couple of bugs with like maybe the way that buffs work and stuff with combat. But like there was no like game breaking bug for combat really. It was all just ritual based.
Yeah, combat was.
So I think they really focused on combat for that reason, because an average player needs to have a good combat experience to enjoy the skill. And I think that was correct on their behalf. You reckon?
Well, yeah, but they should also done something about. I mean, rituals is just so fun. I feel.
Did you guys change your graphic settings?
I tried multiple things, yeah. Skybox's graphic setting.
Didn't change my graphics, but Skybox, yeah, it was like Dawn or something was a really good Skybox for me.
I think I tuned into Ken's stream at one point just very briefly, and he was on like
Play-Doh.
min detail,
Yeah,
and I was just
Play-Doh.
like, I'm gonna do the min detail thing, see if I can see the sparkling glyph better. Turns out it helped me personally absolutely no help at all. So I switched back to like full detail, and all my settings were fucked. I was like,
yeah. And I remember someone came into my stream and said, I can't watch iTrolledU anymore. I can't stand his graphic settings.
Turn the terrain blending off so that there's no textures.
How did you tell whether things were broken or not? That was the problem I had. Like, I didn't know when I had to repair.
Oh, it's because the tiles were like a different shade. Okay. You just look at the tile.
Yeah, I think I griefed myself by lowering detail as well. I was like, what the f***? So
I was so happy when someone mentioned that setting in the settings menu to turn the colors off around the glyphs. Like, I didn't realize that was a thing until, I don't know, 110 maybe?
Oh, I left that on.
Yeah, no, I turned them off. I found it way easier for sparkles.
That's fair. I remember someone in my chat told me to use the Dawn Skybox or whatever, and it actually really helped me. I liked that a lot. But when I was like really crazy tired, there was 2 things that I did, which I remember, and like no one in chat said anything about. One was someone asked me a question about Abyssal Savages and stuff, and because it's like the wilderness and it's all snowy, I told them to take a coat because it's cold. And like no one in chat said anything because I was like so like tired or something. Like I was just speaking weird stuff. And then another one wasn't like really something that I said, but I remember I just like opened my eyes after shutting them for a couple of seconds, and I felt like I had moved in game because with the new skybox that I'm using, made the whole of the ritual site look different. And I was like, where at? Like in my brain, I was like, where the heck am I? I've moved. Where have I gone?
Yeah, at some point the ritual site felt like a different place to me as well. I was like, am I in the same spot?
Woozy.
Yeah, really, literally, I should have went to bed instead of doing that
Yeah,
last
same.
push, man. Crazy.
I had a sleep-in delusion where my cats ran across my bed and woke me up 3 minutes before my alarm went off.
Whoa.
And I didn't realize that it was my cats that woke me up. So I ran over to the computer thinking that I had slept in, and then my alarm went off 3 minutes later.
Oh God.
That's your cat being unethical advantage.
Yeah.
Shaking my head.
Right. Page 2 for me. See you, boys.
Something I'm kind of interested in is, how did you guys get your runes? Because I just had someone in my chat. I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you my money," and you, I would like get my chat to like buy me runes so
that's
that I
funny.
can spam darkness.
Yeah, I would just, I'd buy it off a chat as well.
So you just bought them individually?
Yeah, like 50, 100k at a time or something.
Yeah, so I had Maikeru on the side, and I saw him doing what he was doing, and I went kind of down the route that Ken went down, where I gave one of my mods like 10 bill GP, and I said, "Look, I'm casting 1500 casts of darkness per hour. Can you please do the math on how many runes that is for the next 30 hours? And can you go and get everyone's buy limits and just crowdsource the amount of runes that I need, and then trade them all back to me in one trade?" So I didn't have to go through like 100 trade interfaces, and I feel like that actually saved a bit of time.
That would have saved time, yeah. I definitely wasted time trading people. But I mean, the hindsight bias for me.
I had some friends that bought me, and they just traded me one time, so I didn't have to waste so much time in going to buy it. But one friend, actually, I traded him around 10 bill, and all my killing mates started buying runes, and even one of them went to the World 2 and started overpaying runes, so that helped me a bit.
Yeah, then you didn't have to buy them. Yeah. Did you do the same, Dave?
Similar, yeah. I just had a friend who had some alts and another friend who had some alts, and like I even had a couple alts myself, like the alt that I was using to gather supplies, plus I have like a level 3 skiller. So I was just buying buy limits on as many accounts as I could. And I just have them do the math on how much I owed them, and I would pay them after the fact. And I ended up buying way too many runes too, because when I finished, I ended up giving my extras to Omid.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
No worries. Thanks for not leaking my strat.
Oh yeah, did you tell him about that?
No, so I was in a call in my Iron Man Discord as Omid joined, and someone who I'd been talking to for a couple hours just immediately leaks my strat to him. And Omid, he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sound too good. I mean, I don't think so." And then he didn't use it. He didn't tell anyone, and he waited until like 2 hours before I hit 200 mil, and he messaged me. He's like, "Yo, are you still doing that same strat?" And that's when he switched to it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I remember because my chat was freaking out because
Omid turned the stream off.
Omid turned his stream off. Called
I
Ken.
remember that.
Told Ken the secret strat. Ken turned his stream off. Then my chat was like, "What's the secret strat? What's the secret strat?"
Exactly the same thing.
Oh my god, dude.
People was wondering if it was a combat strat, I remember.
Yeah. People were like,
Yep.
are they killing something? They don't want to get crashed. They don't want competition, so they can't tell their strat because they're like at a new monster. And like everyone was going crazy for like 3 hours, and then Dave was just like, "Yeah, just some extra attraction in it for it." And then we were like, "Okay."
And like, I didn't fully realize that you guys were doing that off stream. So, and I mean, at the same time, even knowing that, I knew I had to tell people because everyone was accusing me of account sharing, and it's like I need to like point out that I'm doing something differently.
I wasn't streaming at the time because I was too tired.
Yeah, but if it's 10% more, then yeah, that's probably the difference
It's
between
at least
like
10%. I want
yeah,
to
that's
say.
probably the difference between like Dave and Raul, right? Like because that was pretty much the difference
over the course of 100 hours.
Yeah. And Dave's XP were public, so I could see our gap getting even bigger.
Yeah.
I knew that he was using a different strat for sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that you were spamming darkness from the beginning, and like I only started after 120, and that gap was like it still existed because
Yeah, it was getting bigger. I think at the end you got like 15 mil
Yeah.
advantage. So
Yeah, I think
it's nuts.
The adrenaline of the top spot
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
I think we all sucked for not trying different things.
Yeah, I tried, but I think I just didn't give it enough time.
Yeah, it was all our fault.
Yeah, I did the whole hindsight bias of like, I've tested it. It did not seem any different. It actually, in fact, seemed a little tiny bit worse in
It's
my
'cause
like,
it's
you know,
so
10-minute
RNG
test.
heavy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, my
It's-
10-minute test showed less XP, and it's like, yeah, but it's only 10 minutes. So you're like, ah.
I don't know. I did it for 20 minutes, and I was like, "What the fuck? I'm just getting the files. That's all I'm getting."
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's RNG also.
Oh yeah,
like,
I
getting the files is
know.
RNG
I
too,
guess.
so it's kind of hard
How
to
long of a
say.
test do you think you would have had to do to realize?
Oh, hours.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
I think it would have
I
to
would
have been
say
hours
so, yeah.
because the amount of XP that can change between a like, you know, half an hour test like is so crazy.
Wait.
The amount of time I've reset my XP meter with changing nothing and my XP was just so much higher. Like it's so many variables. And when like someone in my chat said like, oh, I used higher attraction and it was better. Someone said, oh, I used higher attraction, it was worse, because we were all testing it. Like a bunch of people, including me, were all testing it. And everyone was saying different results because it's so RNG based.
Whoa.
So we were like, we've tested it. It seems the same, if not worse. Like, I'm just going to keep doing this.
I'd say 3 hours to know for sure. I'd say 3 hours.
I don't know. I think it took like 40 minutes to like be suspectful
Determine a
of
difference.
like.
You definitely notice more.
I think.
respawning.
Yeah.
I think like
sure.
people saying like, oh, they got different rates and stuff. It's just due to like, I mean, I don't want to say it, but like skill diff, right? Like
Skill difference as well, I guess, when someone
to be sure, I guess like a couple of hours, but to like know that there's like very likely that there's a difference, I think it only took like 30 or 40 minutes.
that's fair.
I even talked to Ken about it. He was like, yeah, it's almost definitely way better.
Yeah, I was like instantly getting more. I was like, what's going on? But I still wasn't like 100% sure, to be fair.
I wasn't. Yeah,
I was 100% sure because Dave leaked it on his
Yeah,
stream
I
at
just-
the end,
I
just
and he
went with
won the
Dave, yeah.
race. So like, you can't dispute the winner of the
You're
race.
going to do
right?
what number one did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think what especially helped me early on, like pre 120, was that I wasn't using any tomes and I was still getting like similar XP rates to everyone who was using tomes. Because I saved all of my tomes till 119, so I could just burst to 120 and then go to bed quicker.
Oh, was that actually the play, or was
Right,
it best
okay.
to use them as you
I,
went?
I think
really
it was
don't
best
know.
to use it as you went.
Yeah, it was probably best to use it as you went. But
I don't know if anyone figured it
Because
out.
the
That's what I
event
did.
scale as well as
Yeah.
the tome, and I think the events scaling was more significant
course
than
of
the
the whole
tome
level.
scaling. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a whole
Mm.
level.
My-
So if you could get that level, like 20 minutes earlier, that's 20 minutes of enhanced XP instead of one tome
yeah,
or two tomes or whatever.
my whole mindset on it was if I didn't have enough tomes to just jump up to the next level, there's no point in using it. And then every time I got close to the next level, I was like, well, I may as well save it for the next level.
Fair, okay.
And then even then, it's like, well, there's really no point in me using it because I'm getting the same, if not more, XP than someone who's the same level as me who is using tomes. So it's like I may as well just save it at this point so that I can like stay close to glue and then jump 9 mil XP ahead of him, right?
All the mind games.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
actually living rent free in your head.
yeah,
While he was
was
spending time with his
actually-
family.
in my head as well.
It was unbelievable. Like I think even if you ask like A's, I was talking about glue so often. Like I just kept bringing him up out of nowhere. Like
So is it true that eyes also helped you come up with that method?
I stuck with it, but he definitely convinced me to keep doing it because I was so back and forth on it because every time someone's XP jumped a little bit ahead of mine, like I got RNG diffed on something, I was like, man, this can't be worth it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, their method's better. Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy when you're in the moment,
Yeah.
right? Like you see some guy like Ken's
Why
getting
am I getting
3.1 with
2.7?
speed.
Yeah.
Like Ken's popping off.
Yeah.
Like it has to be the best.
Like Ken's at 4 mil XP an hour because he just got
How many
16
times-
tomes. Like, fuck, man.
How many
But-
times do you guys have someone come into your chat be like, hey, how come you're getting 2.6 and Ken's getting 3.1?
yeah. All the time. All the time.
Dude, every fucking second would be someone.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
how are you getting so much less XP than this guy? It's like, well,
Tomes.
RNG in it.
Yeah.
I didn't get a tome for 6.5 hours once they enabled them, and I am a mage. I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't think they should add tomes to any.
Yeah.
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 I think it's bad.
It's kind of fun to like
mechanic.
look back at it and laugh at it, but in the moment, it's definitely very tilting.
Yeah.
You guys remember on release of sorry to drag away from Necro, but Arch, they did the tomes from the streams.
Huh?
And how mad people got from the stream rewards. There was like
Oh yeah, I think I remember. If you
remember
watch
that?
the stream, you get like one turn.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And people were like
Was that a thing?
molding
I'm pretty
over it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
During the
Definitely,
race?
100%.
During the
During the
race,
race, yeah.
yeah.
There was a
I didn't even know
it
that.
was
Me
like
neither.
it was like
No,
an
you
Arch-
guys definitely.
Arch
Everyone
trade or something.
knew about it.
Did I know?
It's very likely.
Did I know about that?
I'd be very surprised.
I swear I didn't get one. I can't remember getting.
I don't
one.
remember
Oh
getting
no!
that.
It was watching the RuneScape official stream when stream loots was like a thing! ! Stream loots, and you'd get like a archaeology
There's-
care package.
Loot'scape.
Yeah, Lootscape.
Yeah.
Like
I
everyone
did
was
not do
talking.
that.
It was literally like what everyone was talking
Yeah.
about constantly for like an hour.
What level were we?
Low.
It was 40, 50,
Yeah.
50, 60,
Oh,
something like that.
sheesh,
I was in
okay.
Everlight. I remember being in Everlight
Was it-
when it happened.
Forever
Was
Light.
it only
Bro,
one?
I was in Everlight forever. Oh my
Forever Light was fun
Was it
time.
only for one stream or was it?
Yeah,
I think it was
multiple?
just one stream.
So what happened for me was as soon as I got to Everlight, like 57, that's when I went to bed. I was like, this is fucking awful. And I just went to sleep.
Yeah.
So I think I slept through it.
You remember throwback to Archaeology race when I went to bed and then I looked at Ken's stream and saw that he was nearly getting the thing but going really dry on it, and then I stole it from him and got a world first.
Oh shit.
What? You saw
Do you
this world
remember?
first?
Oh my god, Maikeru starting beef.
You remember when you were
Wait,
doing the
for what?
armadillo things and you were like, I can't get these boots because you need to like cross the thing, and then I did it and I was like, I walked across and I got the world first, and then you saw the broadcast. And you're like, Maikeru
Wait.
stole it. You're supposed to be in bed or something. I remember. It was
Wait, but
hilarious.
I got first flying.
Yeah, you got
Wait.
the fly-in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I went to bed
That's-
after getting that, and then you got the fly-in.
Okay.
I still remember that.
Something Necro was lacking. World first broadcast.
100%,
In some
yeah.
capacity would have
Yeah.
been much appreciated.
Yeah, like world first to unlock all abilities on the, talent tree and stuff like that. I think stuff like
Yeah,
that would be really
yeah.
cool.
first people to complete quests and the
Yep.
Yeah.
First person
think-
to kill Raziel, did that even broadcast?
Yep.
Nope.
No, so like stuff like that would have been
Yeah.
sick.
I think even certain things like even just comparing it to how successful archaeology was with the mysteries, like these certain alteration glyphs, I feel like should have just come from those quests. So there was at least like some kind of incentive to do it.
Man,
Like
Yeah,
attraction
Mysteries-
3 or multiply or something, right?
100%. Yeah.
Mysteries was literally the best skilling content to ever exist.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
They
the
were so
mysteries.
sweet.
Dude, how much time do you guys spend on the cock chest?
Oh god.
Yep.
So
Oh,
how?
I remember that.
Oh, no.
I
Wait,
remember
what was
that.
What was the actual code? Does anyone remember?
I can't remember, but
no.
All I remember is
spending
just
the time
people
on that.
telling me like, "Hey,
Kek W.
try cock." Right?
And then-
Weird.
and then-
Oh my god. I actually remember watching Ken stream and seeing everyone spam try KW.
Omid, didn't
Tried
you
it too, didn't work.
didn't you try cock and then you left and your chat was like, you didn't try cock. So you went back and you tried cock
I
again.
know, dude. That chest. I'm pretty sure that chest
That's
cost
so
me and
troll.
Ken like hours of like because we were so desperate
No,
to
it
get
did.
the what was it, the Imkando piece, right?
The code was Killy.
Okay.
Oh,
Wait, is that the fucking the Smith?
Killy Row.
Yeah, the
that's
new
the
the new Smither, but she's also reference to Killy, who
The
was
Dwarven
a
Smith.
obstinately or what? I don't know what that word says. Partner to Falmund. So the dwarf in the Warforge, the partner to him was Killy. So it's
Oh,
like his wife.
interesting.
What a stupid ass chest.
I would not have put that together.
That chest actually caused me so much grief.
I remember hearing Ken complain on stream about that chest, and he was like, I fucking lost 2.5 hours of this.
It was so triggering.
It's because we were so desperate for the Imkando, so we could get like because it made such a massive difference. I think I spent like 2 hours. I think Ken spent like 4 hours on that
Yeah.
shit.
We were like, it has to come from
And-
here. And then like people started
Oh,
skilling and they
man.
were like, oh no, I got it from this. And we were like, okay. I remember I was right next to Exogor and I had
Was he
one piece
sleeping?
left, and he
Was it
had
before
no.
or
He
after
wasn't.
he fell asleep?
This
Was he
was
awake?
before he slept. This was before he slept, and before he passed out, he literally. We were like next to each other, and we both needed one piece. We were like, "Oh, it has to be from here. Like this is the only place we haven't had a key." And then he just said, "Bye," and he walked off. Opened up the goddamn door, and he got the broadcast. I was like, "No! If only I had the RNG of that one key." And then he fell asleep, so it's fine. So he did what I did to you, Ken.
Funny looking back, but not so. Funny
Yeah, it
during the
was.
raid.
yeah. Even the official RuneScape like Twitch channel came into his stream when he was asleep and checked in on him because they didn't like want a lawsuit or something. And as soon as he woke up, like the official RuneScape stream was like, "You should probably get to bed, buddy."
It's probably Shawnee or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, mysteries just need to be incorporated into every skill from now on. I think they're just way too good.
Yeah.
Mysteries were really good, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, unfortunately, the quest missed the Necro quest missed the mark. Like,
Yeah.
the Necro quest felt more akin to Arch Mysteries than actual quests.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I think if they actually tied it into the content better as well, like forced you to do the quest maybe to actually progress like Killy upgrade or something, just make you actually do some more of the content because like a lot of people just skipped it or like didn't care for it as much.
Oh,
I think
I
that
was-
took
I
away.
didn't do.
I was really
Three of them.
disappointed with Alpha vs. Omega, the last
Oh,
quest.
that was
Like,
also sad.
was-
Yeah.
It was
Such
just
a
like,
short
this is the
quest.
culmination of the quest storyline for the quest release, and
And
it
it's just
literally
a
took like
fight.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
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 I thought the scene at the end was cool with Raziel's like face and
Like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that
style,
was
like-
really that was cool. Yeah, that did
but
look
like
cool,
it
but-
definitely needed to be longer, 100%.
yeah, it should have been like a freaking 2-hour quest. It's the end of
feel
the
like-
it's the end
Yeah.
of the freaking.
I feel like quests are just too short these days. They're too rushed. Like
Definitely.
what was the buried thing?
Dead and Buried.
Dead and buried.
Yeah, it was just way too rushed. Like I didn't get emotionally
Yeah, that was
invested
also
or
way too
anything.
rushed.
I was
It's-
like, oh,
I'm excited for the next one though, and hopefully that's not rushed, where we actually go to the island.
yeah. It's just like, spoiler alert, but like when her parents were just like dying in the fire, I was just like, why do I care about this? You know,
Yeah, I have zero care for it. They didn't do any like story leading up to it.
yeah, it's just like, and then they ran back in. Why did they run back in? Do you guys?
I don't know.
I was just like, why'd you run back into the fucking the fire?
It was so weird. Like, I just didn't understand it. It went from like pushing these little boulders in a memory or whatever to the parents dying in a fire, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, they need more. They need to give it more time, more depth. I think,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's probably like they see that quests don't bring in like much engagement, so it doesn't get much investment, kind of thing. Probably.
Well, that's so wild to me that they would think that if that's the case, because quests in this game used to be like what this game was about. Like, especially when
Yeah.
they were
Yeah,
doing
I
the
think so
God
too.
series, like that was so insane. Like I was
The
so
series?
excited for the next quest, the God series, like Fate of the Gods, all of those.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was so excited for new quest releases with that to see what happens next.
Fate of the Gods was the best quest release.
Yeah,
Alongside
Wait,
Wild
really?
Gothic Sleeps.
yeah,
Fate of the Gods
Yeah.
and Wild Gothic Sleeps are my two favorite. I liked Wild Wakes as well. They're probably the
Yeah.
top three.
I really like the Elven. It's not as big, but like the Elven and Ardoon kind of quest line.
yeah. I think that was really good too.
But that wasn't like released. I like more. I guess like the Plague's End was released like more recently, but like Biohazard and stuff have been in the game for so long. I wasn't really there for the release of the Morning's End Part 1 and Part 2. Like,
I'm old. I get it.
They've gone down the they've gone down the accessibility route so hard now
that's
that
what
I'm kind
the
of like
issue is.
I'm kind of concerned that are we ever gonna get another Ritual of the Marjarat or another Slisk's Endgame or another
Yeah,
a difficult quest, like they don't exist anymore.
We can't quest lock this content, like, oh, it has to have easy requirements. Like, it's so annoying.
Mind like easy like low requirements. I just want like challenging content, or like I just miss puzzles, dude. Like I miss like actual like difficult fun puzzles, but I don't think many people like that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah, well, even with the latest, with that map table puzzle, you can turn on like an easy mode or something for it and literally
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get the like what is that? Like, come on. Like it's just a 20-minute puzzle. Let people figure it out,
that quest in particular was just so wild to me because I'm like expecting to have to actually do this puzzle, and it's just, well, if I have the option of skipping it, I'll just skip it. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I
know.
did that too.
yeah, like it's so.
I remember doing that.
Why is that even an option? Like, it's a quest. You're supposed to be engaging and doing stuff. It's like
Yeah.
they just want it to be over.
Yeah, it's weird.
What was your guys' favorite puzzle in this game?
In any quest.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are puzzle people.
I think doing my first slider puzzle with Monkey Madness drove me absolutely nuts.
That's fair. Slider puzzle with Monkey Madness was a classic.
Oh.
What's the word game there? Wordle. It was like Rundle or like
Wordle
in
right.
one of the quests. And you had to figure out the words and stuff. I actually found that one quite fun as a recent one. But if we're talking about old ones, it has to be Morning's End Part 2. I know people hate it, but it was crazy.
Part 2 puzzle is so good.
I did Slisk's Endgame on release, no guide. It took like six hours, and I looking back on that, I'm like so happy I did a 6-hour quest.
Yeah.
Like, and put that effort into that.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a lot of it was sunk into the maze, though, which wasn't really too fun, I would say.
Yeah,
other than that, I thought it was
fun,
really fun.
I
thought Cisco's Endgame, other than that, was like a really good quest.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all the dialogue between like the gods and stuff. It like was really good.
I just hope that the next quest we get that takes us to Zimorgul and maybe Vorkath and stuff is good, and they put a lot of time into it, because I do enjoy them. And also, I think the boss should be locked behind the quest, which, like, you know, I feel like they just don't lock enough things behind quests now.
See, the problem with doing that though is that's why they make quests easier and the accessibility.
That's true,
because if they do lock the boss behind the quest, they'll make the quest easier so more people can access the boss.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Just have people enjoy the content. I don't know, or like if they don't enjoy quests, there'll be a guide out the day after. So
I'd be more of a fan of saying, like, here's this new boss, everyone can go and do it, but like here's the quest that goes along with it, and the quest is really hard, but you don't have to do the quest to do the boss.
Yeah, there's that route as well. For sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the ideal route, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like they'll just look at it and be like, well, there's not going to be a lot of people that will do this, and then it's not worth for us to make it hard and invest a lot of time into it, kind of thing. But that's how it should be, ideally. But I think it's just like it's not worth it for them to just make a standalone piece of content like that.
I just miss when they did actual quest lines, because ever since they finished off, I forget what the last line was. They just haven't started any new ones.
Elder Gods, right?
I guess, yeah, Elder Gods might have been the last one. But it's just so weird to me that they do standalone quests like Romeo and Juliet, like something like that, all over the place now. It's like there's no continuity. There's no reason for me to do the next one.
One that stands out to me is Do No Evil.
Oh, that one was kind of cool. I like doing that. That was a pre-EOC quest, wasn't it?
Yeah, with the 3 monkeys. I can't remember the names.
All right, we've been chatting for like over 2 hours now, so we should probably start wrapping up. Is there anything any of you want to say before we round it off?
I'm kind of interested, actually, for the people who streamed it.
Yeah.
Did you find it like better or worse than Archaeology for streaming? And also, do you think it helped? I guess you guys already touched on it. If you thought it helped you, some of you guys did. I had moments where I'd be like, I'm just gonna ignore chat, and I'd close chat for like 10 seconds, and because like I was messing up a lot, and then I'd open it and I'd be like, oh. But like I guess it changed like over time, like because sometimes we were doing AFK stuff, and then like once we hit rituals, it was like really hard for me to pay attention to chat. So I wonder if you guys had the same experience.
Yeah, it was much harder to interact with chat and be efficient with this compared to Archaeology, because obviously Archaeology was semi-AFK. But I also think it was a bit more fun to stream because it was faster pace, so people got a bit more invested because they didn't get bored like halfway through the race. For me personally, I know Stormy said he liked streaming it as well.
Yeah, I found it was really good. I found like my chat interaction is just shit usually anyway, so like I miss so many messages that like they're just used to me missing messages. But I would use that like 12 seconds in between random events would be like my glance over to the chat kind of thing.
I think Archaeology was better because it was more. I feel like a lot of stuff was community based. like mysteries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
definitely.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like Necromancy, you're just doing your own thing. You know, you're not really working with anyone.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
a bit, I guess. But yeah, I think there's a balance between for streaming though. Like the thing with streaming is that it takes a lot of energy to stream, but also like keeps you like mentally active. Like
Gives
it
you
just keeps
energy as
like-
well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, for example, for Archaeology, I remember like towards the last like couple of days, we all just stopped streaming as much because I think we just couldn't, right? We just couldn't upkeep our energy on stream. I think Maikeru definitely streamed the most, which is great. Like I still don't know how you were streaming so much towards the end.
Of Archaeology, yeah.
Yeah, because I was streaming like maybe 25% of the time in the last couple of days because I just
Yeah.
did not have the energy to stream.
I'm streaming like 70% of my waking hours in like week 2. But
Wait, really? 70%? That's insane.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember sometimes we were chatting when we were both not streaming, and I'm just like, God, how's this guy do it? How much did you stream, Ken, on Archaeology?
He done a lot.
Towards the end as well?
I think,
Yeah.
I don't think I stopped very
Because
much.
every time I ended, I would typically raid Ken because he was like the only one online on the second week.
Yeah,
So I
it was
was
just everyone was
raiding
just
Ken a bunch second week.
I
Yeah, but-
obviously wasn't streaming during that time, but I have like this very clear memory of Ken's stream and him playing that the cow song. Ken, do you remember the cow song?
Yep.
yeah.
That thing gave me life. I swear to God.
Doja Cat. It
Yeah,
was the
most
channel
of
point
stuff.
redeem. That's why.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everyone would. I remember every time I would raid you, I would channel point redeem
I remember that too because that was so like that got so stuck into my brain that when I was trying to keep myself awake, I would be in my Mainscape Clan's Discord and we'd be fucking karaokeing the whole song. Like,
Oh my goodness.
I just remember Ken sitting there in his monotone voice going, "Moo."
Yeah, it was Moon and Blinding Lights. Those some fun times.
Oh, man.
This race was too short form for anything like that to
Yeah,
happen.
definitely.
Unfortunately.
Do you guys prefer it being this short?
No.
No.
Yeah, I would have
actually
Really?
longer.
like.
Yeah, I liked the arc race more.
I was relieved when it was over, but in hindsight, like I would have loved for it to have been a 2 to 3 week race. That's what I want the next one to be.
You would do your sleeping according to that anyways, so like it makes
It's a
it
totally
different as well,
different
right?
game ball when you do like 2 weeks versus 1 week. I'm
Yeah, I
surprised
much
you guys
prefer
went
that. I just I can't stay up late. Like I don't know how like Dave and Raul said they pushed for like nearly 40 hours after only sleeping for like 4. Like I just can't do that. But if I'm sleeping for 4, I can push 20 hours, 4, 20, 4, 24 consistently. And then if I get that consistency, I'm never oversleeping. I'm never too tired. I'm being efficient, and that's like the sweet spot for me. But when I'm doing like 22 and 2, I'm like pushing too much with too little sleep, and then I get inefficient, and then my XP rates go to shit. I was much worse performing on this race than the previous one
yeah.
because of that.
20 and 4 was what I did for Archaeology as well. And I wanted to do that for Necromancy, but
Same, yeah.
it was such a quick, like, you
Glue.
had such a, glue, dude. He was
Glue.
in my dreams. Like, I couldn't escape him.
It was in your 1 3-hour dream.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
even just the fact that like doing combat and you were just so afraid of getting crashed or losing your world or having to find a world, I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
sleeping. We're gonna figure out what else to
True.
do. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But
What time? Actually, just going back. I got a question, Dave. What level did you start rituals?
it was beyond 99. I think it was like 100 or 101, maybe. It was. I mean, it was whenever Omid was. I started like at the exact same time he did.
Yeah, I remember Omid just absolutely staying awake, being a machine
Well,
with
I
the
didn't want to lose my
abyssal. Yeah, the
savage
abyssal
spot.
savage.
Yeah.
I just remember I slept for 2.5 hours. I came back and Omid was still going strong, and everyone was like, "This guy's a machine." And then like I reckon if it didn't go to rituals, you probably were the shoe in for like combat training efficiency and the long term. That's what you were preparing
my
for, right?
sleeping and everything was planned around combat
Yeah.
because you don't need to have your brain for combat.
Yeah.
Like everything I planned was for combat, but that obviously
Then you had to use your
backfired.
brain. Yeah.
Were you gonna do the 10-minute the 10-minute sleeps for combat and just like use that 10-minute lobby timer or no?
Intervals of like a change of like 2 hours to 1 hour sleeps.
Okay.
For the whole like 2 weeks.
That was what you did for Arch as well, right?
Well, you know how long I slept for Necromancy, right?
No.
I slept for like 4 hours for Necromancy.
So same as Dave and
I slept for longer than Omid did.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's why I fucked up. That's my biggest mistake. Dude, I think I was like about to get like rank like 8.
Yeah, you were locked in.
But then I was
10.
just like, my brain just stopped functioning. So
yeah, everyone told me like they're like the lights are on and no one's home, and I was like,
I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have fun. So I messed about for the last like. I don't know how many hours I messed about, but it was fucking. I remember Ken found me at Abyssal Beast World. I was like, Omid, leave rituals. You're getting Shakespeare out. I found you a world.
I felt so bad. I like hosted Omid after I finished, and I was like watching him do rituals, and he was just like zoning out every time he clicked on an event, and I was like, I need to like go find him a beast world in the wilderness or something. So I found him a beast world. I don't know how long he stayed because I went to sleep like a little after that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was rough.
Also, Dave, I started doing rituals at 102.
Okay, I probably would have been 101 because I think I was a little bit behind you. I think I was like a couple mil XP behind when we started rituals.
Everyone was a couple mil behind him.
Yeah,
guy was a machine.
Yeah, I think like I didn't do like 4 quests. I didn't do the Zuck cape, and I didn't upgrade my armor.
Yeah,
so I think that's.
I was so far behind.
That shot me in the foot, man. Like doing the tier 70 armor. Like me and Stormy both did it, and we were like planning on the future because the insta kill was so good. And it gave you the XP for the insta kill. You're like, that's so good for the long term. So we were like, we're gonna just invest. And then, rituals became the bear, and I was like, oh no, I just spent like 3 hours getting my PVM cell. It was sad.
I think if I had known the insta kill gave XP, I probably would have gone for it too. But I was under the impression that the insta kill wouldn't give XP.
I think everyone was under the impression that it wasn't going to give XP.
Because it's not damage,
exactly,
so it shouldn't have given XP. But then once everyone started using it, you were getting the same, if not better, rates than the people not using it. So you're like, well, it has to give XP, right? And then people like me were starting to catch up a little bit because we were getting like good, consistent XP. But then we did that for like 1 hour, and then it was like, all right, I need a nap.
Then it was time to go to sleep. Yeah, that's it. Then we went to sleep, and we woke up, and it was rituals, and we were like,
Omid's at rituals? What's going on? And,
shout out to Wazzy. I don't know if he got it from someone, but I got the idea from him.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I thought it was interesting. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. Never mind.
Wait, what?
Well, just the fact that he was sitting there going, yeah, rituals are definitely the play right now, but combat's going to scale way more. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's backwards. Like, once you hit 99, Wazzy was saying that. He said that rituals were the play for 90 plus.
No,
but then once you got your souls, then you have to go to combat because it'll scale way harder. And it was kind of like...
I saw him doing like, you know... like a medium ritual with that much XP, I was just like, yeah. Oh, wait, also one thing I wanted to say, fuck man, this actually like came to me afterwards, but so you know like why we were getting like 100% defile spawns with the medium ritual? It's because we had 1100 soul attraction.
Yeah.
And
so we should have put that into perspective, being like, oh, soul attraction has to have.
Like we should have known that 700% was better because of that.
I knew it was better, as in like I knew it was going to spawn them more. In my brain, what I thought was the speed and the time saved at the end of a ritual where you get no attractions.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, really? Slightly less of the higher tier ones. That was my thought process.
I just thought that it didn't make almost any difference.
Okay, no, I knew it made a difference, but I was like, the difference doesn't outweigh the 7 seconds that I saved. Like the 7 seconds that I saved was better than the difference, but in reality, it wasn't that, and like we saw, Dave was like 10% ahead.
Because the writs were 62 seconds or something, so we were getting those five spawns and only losing the 2.
What was the ritual soul attraction percentage at? With speed
610.
Like if you think about it, from 500% to 1000%, defiles go from I don't know what percent spawn percent they are at 500%, but 1000% they become 100% spawn rate. So I think putting that into
I didn't know they were 100% spawn rate.
Yeah, that was the bug.
Oh,
I didn't know they were 100.
That is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I didn't know they were 100 because I was asleep.
Yeah,
Me too.
You can currently get a 1100% soul attraction on a medium ritual, but the
But
files
they
don't
don't spawn them
right?
anymore.
They
But when the
patch it
files
out
did
power
spawn,
point.
it was 100% spawn rate with that attraction.
Oh, I didn't know it was 100%.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my decision would have been different if I knew it was 100%, to be fair. But obviously, it's too late to say. But, like, yeah, I didn't know anything about the rituals. All I know was when I woke up, someone was like, Omid's getting 2 million experience an hour doing rituals with all attraction. Go do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
go
I
do
was
it.
like, when I went to sleep,
That was it.
I like went to sleep right when he started doing it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did as well.
And I woke up and I was like, oh, I guess I missed all
Yep.
that.
I remember I did Theorycraft to the point where we had it, so we were doing the lowest tier ritual, and we moved all of the glyphs close, so the ritual events never spawned far away. And I had it all Theorycrafted in that way. I was like, they only spawn close to me. This is the play. Don't put any of your stuff on the other side.
I did
Don't
that
worry
too,
about any
yeah.
additional, candles or anything like that. And then they were like, oh, we're nerfing it, so it only spawns to the high ones. Then you had to fill in everything anyway. But yeah, it was really good in that way.
It was so nice because you could do the skeleton without it going on the other side.
Yeah.
And yet,
Yeah.
like the glyphs on the other side would never be available for it, so like it would just never go over there.
Yeah. So like it was always close by and you never had to run. So that was really good and I was really happy with that. And then obviously Giants changed it, so then we changed it or whatever. But yeah, I think it was a really fun race overall. And I do appreciate you all coming on to the podcast and chatting and chilling. It's always interesting to get other people's perspectives on things. Thank you all for coming on. I do hella appreciate it. And it's been a great time chatting. Again, check everyone's socials and Twitches and, YouTubes or whatever is relevant to the people in the description. And I appreciate every single one of you coming on. And until next time, see ya.